tonight's match between Dorado Gaming and Clown Gaming. Sounds like it's going to be a banger of a time tonight. I'm Belby. I've got Ulrim here with me. We're ready to, deliver this cast to you, kick some behind, hopefully, verbally.
Yeah, and just because we are casting on the Clown Gaming server does not mean we have any bias at all whatsoever. Please don't kick me, Sems.
Mhm.
So, going into this match, do you have any particular thoughts or at least hopes for what might happen?
Well, off the bat, it looks like Dorado Gaming might be the sorts of favorites, but I think it'll be an interesting watch. There are definitely some standout players sort of here, some interesting picks that might feature. Um, I believe that is Casante. Do we know if Casante is enabled for tonight? Because I believe that the changes should be coming through soon, right? Let's patch. Wonderful. So yeah, Casante, I mean, Casante's still probably going to be as strong as he was, and the fact that we see him out of the Dorado Gaming side from Fenbach might be relevant. I don't know. I think it could be an interesting matchup. The engaged supports from bot lane on Clown Gaming, like there can be some very spicy points of attack in this draft that should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I definitely think that the map is going to be a really important thing to keep track of because there are multiple relatively even matchups. Particularly, I want to see a little bit of volatility out of this mid because I think iDivinity versus Induced is going to be kind of the matchup where the most can be changed, in my opinion. Down in bot lane and over in the jungle, you even in top lane, there's a clear spot somewhere in each of those positions where you can say, okay, this part is favored, right? But in
Right.
mid, you're looking at two players who are relatively even, at least in terms of rank and where they should be in terms of their game knowledge. And so, what I would be interested in seeing is iDivinity picking up some of the sort of solo queue picks, maybe that he brings in normally. I see, in his OPW, you see the Renekton pick, the Malzahar pick, things that can really like snowball a lane or at least create that sort of untenable mid lane.
Yep.
And
Ready for draft. Oh,
yeah,
do we have the link? Do we have draft link?
uh,
Cool.
let's see how this draft is going.
Yeah, as for Divinity versus Induced, it's kind of interesting looking at their two separate draft pools because Divinity's got like what seems to be kind of like a like split style. He's got a few of those like ranged mages, the zone control from the Malzahar and the Asol. But yeah, we're ready to get into draft right here versus some of the engage picks like the Fizz and the Renekton.
Yeah. Do you have the link by any chance?
Oh, it is in the media general.
Media General. Okay. Sorry, everyone listening. I'm just running around.
Hey man, valid. Yeah, as for induced, it's kind of interesting because most of his stuff seems to be a little bit more aggro in terms of things like the Silas, the Gragas, even looking back to last split, the Annie, right? Things that can like really get on and get engaged in like a very quick sort of way, things that want to play more aggro. Um, so it's going to be interesting whether Divinity decides to rise to the challenge as well. Like both of them go on full aggro, full fight sort of picks, or whether he's going to try and neutralize him in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, the map will be influenced by how well Anderson Cooper can be involved here, and how well Shu can try and neutralize the experienced mind of Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what we're going to want to really see is across the board. I want to see Shuwu really like play safely, actually just neutralize the potential volatility of the carry picks that Anderson likes to bring out. You get the Bel'Veth, the Xin Zhao, those sorts of picks where you want to jump into a lane and get a bunch of kills.
Mhm.
I want to see gaming actually just play back a little bit, play safe, get the vision out, and really stop that from really doing anything. Because if Xin Zhao doesn't have 5 kills, Xin Zhao is a cannon minion.
Right, right. Yeah, and then that'll allow them to, to like if they can neutralize some of the more volatile points on the map, it'll allow them to get ahead from Sems. We are now in draft. Brilliant, wonderful. Let's get in there. All right, timer starting off. Straight off the bat, we see the Quinn band from Dorado Gaming. Not wanting to see any sort of solo queue split pushing out of Sems. Don't want to be dealing with any of the range top laners. You know, I hate it. Everyone hates them. You know, don't want to be
And
having that for themselves.
and to be fair, Sems has 134 games on Quinn. The next
Hmm.
highest is 8 on Orn. So,
Hmm.
knock that a shit out. We don't need
Right,
that.
and a notable enough thing going, hey, well, if this is your most played, we're not going to disrespect you by even bothering to leave it up. We see the Senna out and the Ivern out. Ivern still pretty strong after these, last set of changes that have been happening into the preseason. You're seeing it picked up more across all sorts of regions, even in pro. So, again, another thing that Dorado Gaming goes, we don't even want to have to deal with that being on the table. Belveth away from Anderson Cooper. Cooper, again, like you said, a notably aggressive sort of jungler. Um, yeah, good bands so far from everything that we've been able to tell.
I'm actually a little bit not a fan of the Ivern ban, not
Really?
because it's not a good champion, but because Shu Wu in particular, being a support main,
Yeah,
actually plays engaged supports, not even enchanters. So I
interesting.
actually would leave the Ivern. I would let them have that because you can jump on an Ivern and fight an Ivern.
You think that it would be something that would allow them to play to their more aggressive tendencies, but it's off the table anyways. We noticed the Syndra taken away from Clown Gaming. First lane, first phase, mid lane bans, kind of interesting. They're worried about it enough from the side of Dorado Gaming that they don't want to have to deal with it themselves, even early on.
And it makes sense because Dorado jumped right in to grab the Ziggs pick. So we don't necessarily know that that's going mid. Bot lane Ziggs is still a thing, but
Mhm.
it's entirely possible that Dorado just decided to jump right on mid. And now we have the Rel pick coming out for Clown Gaming. Now that could be a support or a jungle look. I actually would really love that to be flexed into jungle. I think that would be a great way to emphasize what Shuwu does well.
Right.
Um, but we also, of course, have plenty of that coming out of the Clown Gaming Funny Dud 99. Now that we're running down the clock for next pick, we have Sivir for Clown Gaming. Oh, never mind. Kaisa. I was faked out. My
Mm.
bad.
Kaisa, a lot stronger of a pick for sure. You're seeing across multiple regions as well. Kaisa's still sort of the preeminent sort of competitive pick. Very strong, especially with this new lethality version of the build that people have been going into with the Umbroglaive. To get additional cooldown reduction now that the W's been nerfed. So, a good, strong, smart pickup from them. A little bit easier than a Sivir to pilot for sure.
And we potentially definitely have the Maokai coming out. So we have a little bit of frontline coming out for Dorado Gaming. Uh, Now, Kaisa, notoriously good at taking down frontline, especially since she's just allowed to build anything she wants. It
Hmm.
doesn't
Hmm.
matter. Uh,
Right, build whatever, still do damage. Yeah.
all right, Thresh coming in potentially. If that's locked in, we know that that's probably a Maokai jungle. Nautilus hovered. Back to Thresh. Okay, so we're looking at a Maokai jungle Thresh support.
Mhm. Now these could still be up in the air. Those are our, assumptions. It is possible that it'll be something along the lines of a Maokai top lane or a Ziggs, Ziggs mid, Ziggs bot. Like they still allowing for some flexibility in the draft, but
Oh
kind
yeah,
of inferred where they're gonna be.
yep. Just like Shyvana actually has seen a lot of play up in the top lane in the last few months.
Mhm.
Uh, Still completely capable of playing jungle, could be flexed around. I
Yeah,
would
do you
actually, oh, sorry.
oh, after you?
I was just going to say, I would love to see the Shyvana top actually, because it discourages some of these tank top picks. She has that great EQ combo to just absolutely knock down someone's health right up the top. And the recent AD buffs have really allowed Shyvana to jump back into certain trading patterns.
Now, interesting point that you bring up there. If she's going to be, into a tank sort of matchup, do you think that they're going to try and just follow, like, rotate the matchup to just match wherever the Maokai is? Because I'm not exactly sure how in jungle how well it plays into her, but in lane it would seem like Shyvana would be a pretty good, matchup into Maokai.
So the big thing about jungle Maokai, if this happens to be Shyvana and Maokai both in the jungle, I would personally want to take that Shyvana side because Maokai had the most recent changes he had were nerfs to his jungle clear speed, while Shyvana
Mm,
notoriously fast going through the jungle. If
right,
you're
right.
playing Maokai into that, you're gonna lose camps. That's just how that goes, or how that should go. And if you're not, that just means Shyvana's playing terribly.
Right. Back into bans, we noticed that the Nico taken away from the side of Dorado Gaming, the Silas as well. They do not believe that the Ziggs is going to be in the mid lane. Dorado Gaming takes away the Anivia, no zone control, the Malphite, no engaging onto their Ziggs. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they pick here, whether they break the flex of the Shyvana or whether they blind pick mid lane.
Yeah, and it also seems like Dorado does not believe that Shyvana is going top. They
Right,
they throw out the Maokai ban. It seems like they really want to stop more hard engage. And now we have the Karma coming through, which actually, while it can go mid, it can go top, it can go a lot of places. This seems to be leaning toward a Shyvana top rel jungle kind of situation.
right, right. And so they leave their potentially mid lane counter pick open here.
Yeah, there's still a ton of flexibility that Clown Gaming can pull out,
Mhm.
as well as to a certain degree Dorado as well. It looks like we were probably, yep, almost definitely right about Maokai going jungle, Thresh going support.
Mhm.
I would imagine that's probably a mid lane or a top lane. Could be either one, but I think that's a mid lane Jace and top lane coming out right now.
Yeah.
Now, my big problem with Dorado's comp right now, which may not actually matter if they can get the early game fix, is that their damage is really dependent on already being ahead.
Right. Their DPS into something that is incredibly tanky will be like, it's generally harder to get burst onto incredibly tanky things. So, being able to cut through something will depend on them having that lead ahead of time.
Yeah. And if Clown Gaming locks in this Mordekaiser, that means Mordekaiser's probably top, Shyvana jungle, Rel support, Karma mid would be my guess.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be an interesting combination there. The Cassante, notable matchup discrepancy with Cassante and Mordekaiser. If Mordekaiser is going to be in that top lane there, Cassante can, if he times it correctly, he can use the W to drop the Mordekaiser ultimate in the same way that something like an Echo or a Ornn W could be used. So it'll be interesting to see whether Fenbach will be on top of his mechanics enough to completely disallow that spell there. We do have one game in the history. I just was looking into Kill's history a little bit. Curiously enough, one game of Ziggs, but it is with this team in a game setting, right? So and he did particularly well. So it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to leverage that bot lane power. Ziggs, while he is squishier, he does have a lot like early on. His poke and damage is particularly good for lane. He can abuse that very well if he needs to.
Yeah, and what I would like to see here, if we're really looking at like Kaisa Rel in that bot lane, the hard part is going to be that Rel's biggest engage is so absolutely telegraphed that Thrush should just be able to flay it every time.
Hmm.
What we're going to want to watch is the unmounted kind of remount Rel doing
Yeah.
the flash flip,
Hmm.
which is probably the best bet at actually getting a kill on that Ziggs.
Hmm.
I don't think that they win anything short of a really long engage in
Yeah.
this bot lane. And so, really, what you're going to want to do is not fight, which
On
does
the side
benefit
of the Kaiser row.
on the side of the Kaiser Rel. You
Right.
absolutely want to just farm this one up. You're never going to really have a consistent way of killing Ziggs, so you
Hmm.
might as well out farm as best you can. Kaisa's going to outscale, and Ziggs from even is not beating Kaisa here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting coming into team fight phase as well. Like just looking at these two comps, like off the bat, the thing that jumps out at me is the fact that besides Rel Engage, or like, granted, you could do some sort of like speed onto the Shyvana, but even still, like they don't have a like guaranteed engage into them. And with things that can disengage as well as Thresh Flay, Thresh Box, Maokai R, right, Ziggs W, like and if something happens to get in there, Cassante, like they have a very good way of peeling for their two damage dealers. Now, will the poke matter? Depends again on how tanky Clown Gaming side is by the time we hit mid game. But assuming that it's an even game state, they have a good way to protect these two poke champions here.
Yeah, and there is the possibility. It's rare nowadays, but you could always see like a full AP Shyvana throwing out those massive fireballs against
Right,
this relatively squishy set of carries on the side of Dorado.
right.
Because Ziggs Q and Shyvana empowered E, roughly similar range.
Right.
Uh,
And so assuming that Shyvana does manage to tag that, like these carries, once they are gone, it isn't like it isn't like they have something from the top lane or from the jungle here that will solo be able to win a team fight. Like, if what you've got left is Cassante, Maokai, and Thresh, it'll be kind of rough.
yeah. So what I'm really looking for is going to be this Maokai play. I really want to see Dorado focus on getting their jungler into these lanes and absolutely just letting these carries run wild. Because
Mhm.
unless Jace from behind, not great. Ziggs from behind has some value. I mean, you can always try to swing back with some turret executions and things
Mhm.
like that. But overall, poke from behind is not the way you want to be playing the game.
Mm.
Uh, I think that this draft for Clown Gaming is a little bit AP heavy, though.
Mhm.
Like if I'm Cassante, or Maokai, there's some serious MR options that you can grab. Kaisa even is throwing in about 30% AP for what she's building. If you build enough health, you could actually reduce the amount of tank shred that she naturally has from her passive.
Right.
I think
Yeah, good
that,
call.
you're gonna want to have your tanks just spam some MR, really just beef up in front and watch as the other team doesn't really do that much. Now, that's always, of course, depending on your carries really coming through with that damage anyway. So again, it's gonna come down to, can Maokai get into lane and just hold someone still long enough for Ziggs or Jace to get the kill.
Right, right. Yeah, they're gonna get some good value out of that, for sure. And assuming that the lanes go sort of like carbon neutral by the end of lane phase, right? If we're coming out of lanes net neutral, I feel like the advantage goes probably to the side of Dorado Gaming as it stands, right? Because with things that want to poke, if the game is completely neutral, it feels like it's a better state for them than, like as you said, falling behind. Like if either of those fall behind, their damage is you know it gets very rough for them to look at these sorts of team fights from a negative gold state.
Yeah, I'm really gonna want to see in the mid to late game
Hmm.
some actual flank angles coming out of Sems. Because if
Hmm.
Mordekaiser comes in and presses R on a Jace or a Ziggs, the fight is
Right,
very, very different.
right.
Uh, and I'm gonna want to see kills and induced paying their taxes.
Hmm.
So if you can just stick Jace or Ziggs into the Death Realm, and you can keep Kaisa at least even, that puts you in a good place to win a team fight.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of protection available for Kaisa through the Karma and the Rel. You're really just sitting here and saying, all right, we are going to hopefully let our ADC do the work.
Yeah, with a comp like this for sure. Like you've got when you've got like a primary sort of carry, like notably available here. It's okay unless Shyvana is like fed enough that she can just jump in and effectively 1v3 or whatever it is that she's going to be on top of. Like Kai'Sa will be the primary damage dealer in a team fight.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about the Shyvana is while Maokai wants to get out and start ganking immediately,
Hmm.
Shyvana can sit back and clear her camps over and over again, and she can do it fast enough to really get out on the map in some of these places and set up faster usually.
Hmm.
So if Shuwu is willing to really like commit to that hard farming style and everyone else can play back a little bit, which might be difficult for someone like the Mordekaiser, we could be seeing a very even lane state as long as people are not making silly mistakes.
True, true. Yeah, and it'll be interesting at that, at that point when we're coming into mid-game Drake fights or Herald fights, right? Like how things will be looking. Because if the Shyvana, like you mentioned, if Shyvana can get into these, finish all her camps early, get into river, start getting prio, right? They might be able to, hold these relatively effectively, early on.
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to worry about if I'm on the side of Clown Gaming, more than anything actually, is the out of the darkness thresh hook, right?
Hmm.
If that hits Kaisa, she's dead before the hook's over, and then your entire team fight is gone.
Yeah, with enough, I mean, with things like the Ziggs, the Inferno Bomb to drop over the top and the Jace EQ combo, right? Like, yeah, if she gets at any point too far, like out in front of her tanks, if she's receiving like the first bit of damage, yeah, they have a very easy to execute, damage dump onto squishies.
Yeah, so what we're going to want to honestly see is most of the Clown Gaming team just playing Protect the Carry, which
Mhm.
it can be a difficult one when there's also the untargetable Maokai pressing W, but you got to take those risks when you have a game plan that you want to execute on.
Mhm. Mhm. Now, as for beside with the exception of that W from Casante, assuming that that doesn't end up happening, do you think that the match up top is going to be more favored? We believe that Sims will be able to take advantage of the matchup himself, but do you think that the matchup in a like skill neutral state would benefit Mordekaiser more than the Casante?
So I actually pulled up some stats. I'm a big fan of counterstats.net here, where I usually pull up my matchups. Mordekaiser is favored in almost every relevant category. Uh, it's a 56% win rate for Mord, uh, plus 477 gold early, 60% champion kills, 65% counter kill. It's heavily Mord favored, and I think it was actually a really great pickup to pull that in. Now, by any chance, do we have the actual stream coming back up north?
Oh yeah, no.
Yep. Gotta be able to see it. All right, now we get to observe the skins. Okay, let's see. Well, first and foremost, of course, Dorado won the skin war. They brought
Right.
five.
Yeah,
Can't help that.
full five skin. Anderson Cooper, of course, skin itemization to the spooky season, thematically relevant skin choice. Already off the bat, we've got Infernal Mordekaiser, so we've got two sort of October Halloweeny themed skins. So like you said, might be an even matchup. Not certain.
Yeah. In the mid lane, we have the battle of the skins that Riot gave out for free.
Hmm.
Let's see. We have zero Skinergy though between any individuals on the teams, and that's a little bit sad. I'm not gonna lie. We have maybe some color matching going on in the bot lane of Clown Gaming, so that's nice. But then we just have a random. I don't even want to try to pronounce the skin. Bzigs.
Right,
Um,
right.
so overall, could be doing much worse.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Jeopardy music playing.
No, dude, yeah, I've had that issue a few times currently with this current patch where it'll show you the retry, your application maybe may not be in act. It's like, okay. Um the like you mentioned, the Bazig skin. Hey, maybe he's just out here. He's trying to be he's trying to make a statement to us, the public, about the bees. Might be relevant here. Might not be. Might just be third a third rock from the sun sort of moment. But
Yeah. And
oh, you
here's my
back?
hot take of the night. The hottest take I'm going to give.
Okay, okay.
Honeybees are invasive to North America. Support your
Right.
local pollinators instead.
Gotcha. Hot
Don't let a
take.
European bee destroy your local ecosystem.
Hot take. Don't save the bees.
At least not around here. Over in Europe, go ahead.
Right.
North America, save a bumblebee instead.
Mhm. Let me pull up. I might be able to jump off of Cooper. I might be able to jump off of Cooper. I will jump in and see if I can. Oh, you're doing the.
There's a
Are you
screen.
in?
Ooh, I didn't even know 0 MS was possible. Living in the server.
Yeah. Interesting enough. Also trying to connect. Also at 0 MS, so it might be a problem on the. Oh, there we go.
We made it.
We have made it onto the Rift, as have our two competitors for the night. Rune choices. Any interesting rune choices that we notice here? We notice the I believe that is press the attack from the side of the Shyvana, and we have a pause. Might be paused for us. I believe that's press the attack on the side of the Shyvana that we're seeing there. So that will be, I assume, on hit Shyvana rather than the poke version.
Yep, we have lethal tempo on Kaisa, which is pretty standard. We have glacial.
Yeah, the first strike on the side of the Maokai definitely just going to be out there spamming the saplings. I think aside from the press the attack, these are all pretty standard. And the press the attack just lets us know this is probably going to be the attack focused Shamana build.
Is that Conqueror on the Mordekaiser? It's a little bit fuzzy on my side.
Yeah. I believe that is Conqueror for the Mordekaiser, yeah, which
Pretty standard.
he's going to be in melee range of the Cassante, of course. Cassante doesn't really have an option to not be in melee range when going through his combos. So, Mordekaiser are probably going to get pretty good value out of that himself as well. Any choices here on the sums? We notice the cleanse on the side of the Kaisa, obviously to be, to be expected with the Maokai and also the Thresh. The exhaust on the Ziggs, not opting for the heal himself or opting for something like a position wise slash combat something like a ghost or macro with the teleport. So exhaust, he's really worried about the Mordekaiser or the Kaisa jumping on himself or the Shyvana.
So the nice thing about the types of CC that Clown Gaming has is that a lot of it is unmitigatable, right? A
Mm-hmm.
pull from Mordekaiser, a knockback from Shyvana, a knock up from Rel. You
Mm-hmm.
can't really do anything about it.
Right.
If it hits you, it hits you. I mean, obviously there's still stuns and things like that involved. Um, and of course, someone paying their taxes should walk away from this Mordekaiser. And those taxes are incredibly valuable because of how much MR is going to get out of this game playing against cloud gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of rare for the stats of your Quicksilver Sash to matter,
Right.
but it's looking like this game that actually could be a really big factor in how fast someone builds that. If you first buy a Quicksilver Sash, you're actually getting great defensive stats against the entirety of cloud gaming.
Mm. Although on the flip side, as the game goes on, the fewer and fewer games nowadays are getting to that like full item late game state that we used to be more prevalent in earlier seasons. But assuming we do get to that, late game full item state. The Jace can build it into Merc, Sam, or Silvermere, and will be relatively it shouldn't impact his build path too much. If we do happen to get to that state, the item being off of Ziggs, the Mercurial, the QSS being down and not being able to have an item in that slot, it'll be interesting to see whether that ends up having any sort of ramifications, or if it just doesn't even matter in this game whatsoever. We might have it over at 25.
Well, the nice thing about Ziggs, in terms of just having options available, is
Mhm,
that he could try to do something else. Like, say, he could grab a Banshee's Veil or a Zonia's or
mhm,
both, and try to play around that instead of properly paying the Quicksilver Sash
mhm.
attacks. Because you could still just try to survive or even just avoid the Death
The
Realm as
Mordekaiser,
Ziggs.
yeah.
Because as Ziggs, you could bounce him away. You could jump into the middle of that. You could jump in the middle of your Zonias and just wait out a few seconds. Like,
Mhm,
you have options that are not just press button leave.
mhm.
You don't want to be in the Death Realm for the full range for the same reason we talked about earlier. That is a Ziggs you're counting on for damage.
Right,
But
right.
you may get better value out of the other AP options that are there in
Mhm.
terms of just staying back and avoiding getting the R button pressed on you in the first place.
True enough. True enough. We haven't. Ah, brilliant.
Which ADC? Do we flame kills yet?
Mm,
Okay.
mm, mm, mm.
All right. Not yet. How much of a grace period does BOL allow for this? Because we're pushing past the 5 minute mark, and I would hate for a silly forfeit to happen.
The first game to be a forfeit. All this analysis, and where to put it.
Exactly. Doesn't matter what Quicksilver Sash will do if the entire game is off.
Yeah, they're QSSing the game.
The Zonias of the entire game.
Right.
Truly the better option for dealing with Mordekaiser.
Exactly. Exactly. How do you not engage with Mordekaiser? You just don't play at all.
You dox his ADC.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of yeah, I mean thus far, not a lot to jump out to. I mean, we do notice if this ends up sticking the red smite from the Maokai, so not the speed one or the shield one. I believe that is the one that gives the extra damage.
Yes. And a
Yeah,
little bit of a slow.
yeah, and a
So
little bit of a slow as well. So maybe a little bit of extra utility, but I do believe most of the time Maokai does trend towards either the movement speed on gank or or the additional tank stats smite.
yeah, I mean, grabbing that tank stat has been the most powerful smite for months now, but they
Hmm.
did just process nerfs for both of the other smites, so it may just be, testing the waters on that.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting, I guess, also to see what he, whether I mean, generally the Maokai item, the AP early item, the demonic embrace. It'll be interesting to see whether he still trends towards that here or not. Um,
Yeah, looking at the current u.gg page for Maokai, uh, generally speaking, it's saying First Strike, Red Smite, Demonic, and Irradiant still.
okay.
The rest of the build still pretty standard, but it looks like this little bit is just to get that extra damage off of your E so that you can still pretend it's 8 months ago when Maokai was just destroying everyone with saplings.
Right, right. And coincidentally, the Maokai at the time particularly strong with poke champions. The slow that happens with the sapling when it happens to tag, you get the damage from that plus the damage of the poke champion over the top. One of the ones that I had played a lot at the time was Maokai Zoe. Maokai Jace will work relatively similar, where the second they get the slow, you're gonna get Jace D'd from across the lane. So, their setup gonna be relatively important as well.
Yeah, and the big thing, like I talked about with trying to get the Mordekaiser on a flank angle,
Hmm.
it's really hard to flank Maokai
Yeah.
because you get a 30-second unmitigatable ward that happens to also do damage.
And slow on the entrance. So assuming that he puts it anywhere in the vicinity of the teleport, like that it tags Mordekaiser entering, that does disable the home guard as well. So, the important timing of teleport and making sure to sweep out the area to ensure that he is not spotted. Very important for Clown Gaming side.
Yeah, and now we're approaching the 1 minute remaining mark before all of this analysis becomes useless.
It becomes moot. Yeah.
Who knows? Most of the time teams do have the option to just play it out anyway. It could
Right.
just be that, we still get the kills Sems match up, but
Mhm.
there's this possibility as we approach 30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds remain.
And I really wanted to see this incredibly unvolatile Karma Jace matchup in mid. I
Right.
was I was actually kind of hoping that Clown Gaming would pick up something a little bit more fighty.
Yeah, aggro from somewhere across the map for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little disappointing that they grabbed the Karma there, especially in the matchup where they have the most chance to swing it in their favor.
Yeah, oddly enough, I feel like on the side of Clown, I feel like the Karma probably would have played better into that, like, because they pick the Karma at R4, right? Which means that they see the Cassante coming in, and I'm pretty sure Karma can just like effectively neutralize Cassante in lane. Net neutral, nothing happens, and they could pick something more aggro on the side of mid lane. Like there were some, let them cook options here. But instead, we have not cooked. We have passed the 10-minute mark. Let us see whether Clown and Dorado are going to speak for an FF.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know. It could be that it's a 15-minute rule, or it
Yeah,
could just be that they've decided they want to play it out.
yeah. Do we have North here in chat, right? Oh no, no. I mean in the game chat to ask them what we have going on. Oh, unfortunate. Let me. I will message. Oh no, it looks like they are. Are they out of game? Or game? Oh, it does look like Anderson.
This was a lot of casting
Oh,
for a Morbid.
it is being figured out, says Anderson Cooper. So, we will delay for a little while longer. Um, Yeah, it'll be first off, obviously we can't do a lot of more analysis on how the game will look until it is determined whether the game will play out. But what we can do analysis on is whether if we this does end up being an FF, whether the draft strategy for this game impacts the draft strategy for game two. Whether with no gameplay they go, I don't know about this draft, let us change what has happened here. You know,
Yeah. So I do know that it takes away a little bit of the surprise of the Mordekaiser coming in.
right,
It could mean a different ban coming out because personally, I think you drop the Ivern ban in favor of the Mordekaiser ban there and just
right,
say, all right, you just don't get that. Now, what do you do against the Kasante?
yeah.
Do you put the Karma up there?
Yeah, and oddly enough, yeah, like you mentioned, the surprise factor there of going, well, we have two supports. It's either going to be Karma support Rel jungle, or Rel support and then a Karma flex somewhere, right? Now you have eliminated or not eliminated, but like any surprise that comes from the concept of Karma mid, right? Now kind of out the window, right? They know that now that is a flex that is on the table for a completely neutral mid lane matchup. Again, probably not going to see a ban out of it. If I'm Dorado Gaming, I like the Jason to Karma matchup probably, but it does make you aware of the fact that it is on the table.
Yeah, if I'm Dorado Gaming, I just prep the idea of doing a hyperscaler in mid because what's
Mm,
Karma gonna do?
right.
You know, you you can throw just about anything. I believe, if I recall, and I'm checking right now, we saw the Syndra ban out of Clown Gaming. Honestly, you could pick just about anything you want that scales, and you're gonna be out damaging Karma. It's
Right.
it's just gonna end up being favored.
Mhm.
I mean, induced. Looking at his champ pool, admittedly, is a lot of jungle champions right there.
Yeah. I'll jump back. Well, even jumping back a little bit. Now, granted, Corki is not, itemization has changed slightly from last year, but Induced had a very good record on Corki, and Corki having a completely neutral lane state where nothing happens is that champion's dream. I have played a lot of Corki. Doing nothing for 15 minutes so you can scale into your item power spikes is exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, that's a great example of something that just absolutely gets to sit there and be a nuisance for the rest of the game.
Right. Okay.
So it's going to be the same draft, 0-0. They're not going to FF. Wild Goose Chase is going to be subbing in for Adishon since Adishon
Okay.
internet went boom.
Got it. Gotcha. And he'll just be playing the Kaisa
Yep.
for Adishon. Okay. All right.
Well, let me
Well,
see if I can pull up the op.gg for Wild Goose Chase real quick. Um, see, is Goose Chase? Yep, right there. So that does change things a little bit, not by a huge margin. I mean, if we still have Goose Chase is gold 1 currently. If we're looking over at Induced, plat 4, not like there's a huge rank disparity there. Induced also plays primarily. Oh, sorry. Why am I thinking junk in terms of mid? Sorry. We
for
have,
Adishon.
yep, we have Kills, who is plat 4, going up against Wild Goose Chase, who is gold 1. So again, not a huge rank disparity. I wouldn't necessarily say this is going to be like a slaughter there.
Yeah.
But I will say that I don't see very many Kaisa games for Wild Goose Chase.
Yeah, familiarity with the Kaisa definitely will be a little bit different. Over the past two seasons, there is, currently granted this half of the season little short so far, but 55% win rate on the Kaisa for Adishon this half of the season, 65% win rate the last half of that. Like more than 50% win rate lifetime on Kaisa for Adishon, right? Wild Goose Chase has played a couple games this season, and then the last time before that he played Kaisa games as in ranked was 2021. So it's definitely familiarity with the champ will be a little bit lacking, which or I say lacking, no, hate to you Wild Goose Chase, but the things that an experienced Kaisa player, the damage in important parts of the combo, things like that, it might this might be a tale that we see where maybe there's some sort of fight and someone gets away with like just a little bit more health than anticipated because of the familiarity with the champion. You know, the current build path. It'll be interesting to see whether he even like what build path he goes on. If he hasn't played it as much recently either.
So you're playing into a Ziggs. It's not like you have a traditional bot lane matchup. It's not unheard
Mhm.
of course. Ziggs has been more and more in the bot lane recently.
Right.
But if you're looking into what you're going to feel comfortable and familiar on,
Mhm.
Kaisa versus Ziggs when you've played 4 total Kaisa games this split,
Right.
that's not what you're going to be ready for
Right.
necessarily.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
we're going to have to just hope that right clicking is right clicking.
Mhm. And
And
that translates across all brackets.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's see. Where we have about 3.5 minutes. It's a 3 minute pause after
Yep.
loadout, correct? Yep. So we don't really have that much we can say other than whatever it is that the changes with Goose are. So do you have any more knowledge of kind of competitive experience of Goose? Because I haven't seen too many games of this guy.
No, and that'll be an interesting thing. I mean, speaking just as to competitive experience, one, haven't seen a lot of Goose himself. Second off, if Adishon. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, no,
Interesting.
I definitely know he's been playing for a while. I haven't particularly been, one of the writers for leagues that Goose has been in. So it's gonna be interesting for me because I don't really know how he plays. I don't know if he's an aggressive player, sit back and farm player. I hope for his sake he's a sit back and farm player this game because that's
Mhm.
what you're gonna need to do.
Yeah, and you have to hope that, so far as team synergy goes, granted, you hope that any team plays a little bit with their subs, but obviously the team synergy will be an interesting thing to see, right? Whether he is on the same page as this Rel, where, Rel engage is like you have to be very precise if you're doing a very Rel's combos because she is so like it's a one-time perfect engage sort of thing, right? If you go in too early and you don't get a great engage, they will be able to put a lot of damage back into you, right? So being able to see whether he's going to be on the same page as his Rel here will be an interesting, thing to track over the course of the rest of the game.
So I'm actually getting a little bit of knowledge from outside, a wonderful source by the name of the Notorious TLP,
Mhm.
who's letting me know that Goose's current team over in the Divinity League for Titan Esports is currently undefeated.
Okay.
Oh, there's general chat things too.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. That's an interesting thing is the Varus. Oh, and this was with Technics in there as well. Okay. Yeah, so he had a couple of good games there. It looks like. Wait, can we see this from Goose's side? Because these are, I believe, these are kills numbers. Do we know how Goose performed specifically in these matchups? Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see if I might be able to grab that real quick. But I mean, obviously, able to get 2 wins in this series, right? In their scrim set that they played there. Um, or you said this was in Titan, the actual series in Titan they played against them? Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, okay. And interestingly enough, this is with the lethality version of the build. Now, he wasn't running the Umbral Glaive, which I know that a lot of people have been doing as the first item, but Duskblade and Collector. So he is familiar with the updated versions of the Kaisa build as well, despite not having played it as much recently, which, that'll be an interesting thing to follow as well. I believe, okay, oh yeah, you got the swap north to dope. Cool. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Oh, and the sums. He did change his sum, personally. Goose more comfortable with the exhaust rather than the cleanse, which that was something that we were bringing up, the cleanse into Thresh Hook and Malachi W, whether that'll be notable here or not. And after a lengthy delay, through no fault of the team's own, we are now into game. We are now going to witness this first game of the set. Starting items stay the same. We do have the shield, the smite from Shyvana. We also have the long sword start rather than the Doran start. Going to be sacrificing a little bit of total HP in an all-in scenario for regenerative HP. We see Malachi pushing Shyvana out of the jungle. They're going to step up here from the side of Dorado Gaming, see if they can get down a ward. They do not appear to have gotten one down.
We
No
also
ward placed.
We also see the Hail of Blades coming out on Wild Goose Chase's Kaisa, as opposed to the lethal tempo that was being taken by Adishon.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit of trading power. I'm not sure if I would have really gone that route in this particular lane because, like we said before, it's not necessarily a lane you want to be taking a lot of fights in. But it does speak to a more aggressive strategy, so we should see how that plays out.
Yes, indeed. All right, it's going to be looking like currently Maokai is setting up to be starting on the top side. We also see Shyvana set up to start on the top side. So their paths will be matched. That means that bot lane is actually going to, in theory, if they're going to be looking for an early gank, it'll be a lot more spicy than we anticipated. Yeah,
That
we've
is,
got
of course.
Ziggs. Oh,
I was going to say that is, of course, if Shyvana actually walks into the lane. Because honestly, if I'm playing Shyvana, I probably just want to farm.
right.
You let your lane know, hey, you're not getting a gank this run through, but you do get one on the second run through, maybe even the third. You want to
Right.
hit that 6 as fast as possible. And honestly, Shyvana's ganks just suck before 6. It's not
Right.
worth it. We
Good
see the
poke
level
from-
2 coming out.
And good poke from the side of Dorado Gaming there so far, but level 2 first. We also see level 2 first on the side of the Mordekaiser will be coming in here. Good trade from the Jace. The lane starts to equalize just slightly in the bot lane.
It is so hard to trade up against Karma because of all the shielding she does and the empowered root giving her all that health back. But that was a really solid trade over there. We do see a pretty decent little health advantage being built up for Sems up in top lane. Every time you get hit with that isolated Q, it just hurts.
Yeah, and a good job from the farming on the side of the Cassante so far, despite being harassed only down a couple in farm, is going to be able to pick up most of these under the turret, misses 1 or 2 there. And the thing about Cassante that is, very interesting, he is surprisingly good under his own turret champion. If you do overextend too much, like good combos from him can pull you back under turret. So, not the worst scenario for him to be pressured back under there.
Yeah, we do see him trading his health bar for farm, but it's working right now. I mean, if you can get yourself out from
the hook.
underneath. Oh,
Hook
great.
Line's a good trade.
That's going to be disastrous for this Kai'Sa. You definitely don't want to be taking that kind of health loss, especially as the wave is crashing in. We see Shyvana moving toward bot lane on the map. I'm not sure how I feel about that. She is taking the back, thankfully.
Yeah.
But
A good amount of damage coming out from Dorado Gaming onto them. Health advantage from the bot lane. Which allows that Maokai to get that early Scuttle Crab. He's going to be able to return to his jungle and continue his farming.
Yeah, I would say this is a relatively slow first clear for the Shyvana. You really should see Shyvana being able to run up the river a little bit, do a little bit more with that. It could be better, but now that bot lane has a little bit of push, and this is some good trading coming out of top lane.
He is going to be able to stop the back here of the Rel. This is going to be a 3v1, and Rel does not have flash currently. Is that going to be? That will be first blood over to the Ziggs.
Yeah, that was a greedy back. Honestly, from both of them, they need to just walk back to their turret. Let what happens. You don't get to have perfect timing every time, but when you back that far forward, you run the risk of that happening.
Right, and a good scope out from Sunray, actually, making sure to check those both bushes to make sure that there were no backs of that sort going on, and to punish onto the Rel for taking it. Top lane, Cassante and Mordekaiser are relatively the same health, but that just was, I believe, it's a little pixelated. That was just 6 for Mordekaiser, correct?
I also can't see. I see mostly squares on my screen.
Okay, cool.
Oh no, it just got worse.
Oh, additional squares. Hey, it's all right. We see the top lane Scuttle Crab going down for the side of Clown Gaming. Maokai, pathing still matched here. Let's see. This wave is shoving back towards Cassante, so it looks like Mordekaiser is just going to take it back and is not going to attempt anything. Teleport was used for Cassante, so it'll be interesting to see whether Mordekaiser decides to use his TP here as well. Engaging onto the side of the mid lane. That was a hook from Thresh. Flash away from the Karma. Thresh takes 2 turret shots. Jace will not have the kill damage.
And that's the annoying thing about ganking Karma. You spend all these resources, you try your
Oh,
best.
second hook lands, and the damage from Jace will be enough. The kill goes over to Thresh, unfortunately. The To the Sky is not enough to finish the execute. But we see Maokai coming down to the bot lane. He's going to be ganking onto the Rel. Maokai taking more of a health trade than he bargained for, but some trade damage from the Ziggs back onto the Kaisa. Kaisa just going to walk away.
That
Good
was
save on the jungle.
yeah, that was really good movement by Ziggs. Looking a little bit back at the mid lane, I think that was just honestly disrespectful positioning by Karma. I think that really Divinity could have just backed off for a few seconds, made
Oh,
the
the
Thresh
kidnap.
leave.
Wait, the kidnap top lane comes in from the Cassante, knocks Mordekaiser back. Will not be enough to kill him. He is still following, though. Let's see whether he's going to commit for the kill. He will, and that is a solo kill from Fembach onto Sems. Take a lead over me. It does not matter. He will put you in the ground anyway. And bot lane back to neutral again as well.
That is really sad to see if you're Clown Gaming, because you definitely you go into this match thinking, okay, our one definite lead is top lane. And now that's just gone. You had a very even CS difference, and then you just watch as Cassante takes a free kill for some reason.
Yeah, just aggressive positioning there from the Mordekaiser. You know, when like I was mentioning with Cassante, if you get too close to his turret, he will kidnap you under it, and that is exactly what we saw happen. He took a turret shot or two on the way out. Ziggs getting some good damage back onto the Rel. It does not look like it'll be enough to finish, and he does not have ulti yet. Throws
And
another Q.
Kaisa just barely saved by the minion there on her way back, trying to position to save Rel. Honestly, both of them need to leave.
Oh, interesting. Oh, and the Comet kills. We do see Shyvana coming here, but Ziggs dodges the Shyvana engage. That is exhaust onto Shyvana. There will be no kill onto Ziggs, and there will be no hope for Clown Gaming's jungler here.
As a jungler, you really have to be watching where you actually can get something out of your gank, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at that particular gank, you have nothing you can do there, right? You can try. If you think as Shyvana you can 1v2, I guess fine. But with the Thresh Flay, the hooks, the Ziggs bombs bouncing you away, there was just no shot. And Kaisa couldn't join. There was a wave pushed in and she had no health.
Yeah,
so what are you doing?
The unfortunate thing there is, as Shyvana comes in, right, you watch, I mean, granted, both of them already had 0 HP, but you watch Ziggs take over to 6 and one-shot they force out the Kaisa flash to get away from Ziggs ulti, and they manage to kill off Rel with the Comet coming in at the last second. So Shyvana is just stuck there watching her bot lane die and flee.
Yeah, right now, I can't actually see the scoreboard because of the pixelation. I just know that it is 6 kills to 0.
And it is 3 kills to Ziggs. You notice that he does have the completed Lost Chapter. Going to be a lot easier for him to spam out that mana in the bot lane. That is Rift Herald there going over to the side of Dorado Gaming. And thus far, a good early game, you know, like we mentioned, where, you know, you need to be in an ahead state as this team and, you know, leveraging that lead properly.
Yeah, and honestly, I cannot give enough credit to Sunray, who has been hitting these hooks constantly. He had great roams up.
That's an engage from the Rel, but the flash away from the Jace. Kaisa jumps in with the R, but is going to get knocked back by Thresh. They are attempting to trade damage, but there will not be enough to finish either kill.
That was a lot of resources to throw into that without getting any kills, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now they do end up keeping, I mean, they burn the Kaisa R, which for the time being, if another fight does decide to come out, you don't have flash on Kaisa, and now you don't have R to get away. So assuming that she's too close to anything, she will be in great danger. I mean, you know, it is good though. On the side, they did manage to force out the flash from Jace, right? So one of their carries as well. Like, if you can trade, it'll be fun. At the moment, all that Clown Gaming is looking for is some sort of trade. You know, getting some gold back on the map.
I will say, Sems over on the Mordekaiser has managed to pull his positioning back. He's got a little bit of a CS lead now. It doesn't make up for the kill quite yet in terms of total gold earned for it. But if you keep this going, I imagine, you know, the latent state could shift back in his favor as long as Dorado leaves them on the top lane island.
Right. The
And
longer
a
the game
strong
goes,
Mordekaiser is a good spot to be.
yeah, the longer the game goes on as Cassante. Like it's into things that have forms of max HP damage or good damage into tanks. Like things will be rough for him, and you assume that the Mordekaiser here is going to go for either, something like the Rift Maker or something like that as things stand so far.
Yeah, Mordekaiser really wants those extended fights, all alone 1v1, and we have another hook and another probably death.
Yeah, a gank was looking to come in from Dorado Gaming, but they will be able to. The Karma gets away, and the Jace taking damage from the Shyvana. Shyvana jumps forward, but will not be able to complete. No flash from the Rel, hook from the Thresh to force her back off, and they do escape on all parties. Honestly, surprising that all of that happened without a single kill. Did not finish the kill onto the Karma or onto the Jace.
Yeah, Karma did have flashback up, so that did help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part about that fight is just that all of the damage was front loaded, right? If that first round of spells doesn't kill, then you're probably not getting the kill.
Right. Yeah, from both sides there, for sure. Ziggs just alone in bot lane, able to clear out these waves. We do notice that the CS about even on bot lane. We've got a 10 CS lead for the Ziggs, but that's not a whole, hell of a lot, assuming that, seeing that he is already 3-0, right? It hasn't opened up enough that, we think that Karma is, or that Kai'Sa is entirely out of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, we are looking at a big gold difference, of course, mainly in that 3-kill scoreline for Ziggs.
Right.
Now we are having the dragons started up here. I think that Chemtech 2 and Cloud Drake 1 actually is pretty great. Means neither of those are your soul. You're getting something valuable if you're able to keep this up.
Right, we see the engage there onto the Shyvana and the Rel. Neither of them connects. Ziggs' ulti does not connect there either, but that is going to be a guaranteed dragon to the side of Dorado Gaming. Yeah, it's in... Oh.
No, the video has not gotten any clearer.
It's all right here. We see Poke coming through from Jace, does not appear to connect either. We have Cassante stepping up to the Mordekaiser, not going to be able to protect his ward either. That is 11-11 on level score. Shyvana is there. Cassante uses his W to jump back out. No damage, returned either way. The completed Rylai's from Mordekaiser, first item, interestingly enough, does not go for the pen quite yet. And the completed Jack Show from the Cassante. We're starting to see the first completed items here across the board, except on the side of Shyvana, who has not yet completed her first item.
Yeah, as we watch through this, I mean, Shyvana seems to be going the... Is that
that is
Divine Sunderer?
I think that's either the Triforce or the Sunderer.
Okay. I thought that the Kindle gem wasn't in Triforce build. That's my mistake.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see though, because if that is if that will be Triforce, like into this comp, right? Cassante and Maokai, there are a couple of tank threats. So itemizing for the quicker damage onto the carries rather than onto sustained damage onto tanks. Engage from the Jace to the skies comes through, knock back. No kill either way.
Yeah, the little bit of burst from Jace, unless you're already really fed, it doesn't get through the Karma Shield, really.
This is interesting. This Mordekaiser might be able to get the soul kill on Cassante here. He doesn't decide to chase, but that is a good chunk onto Cassante. If I were him, I'd be a little bit worried stepping back up to this wave.
It looks like he has not been able to use this, though, to actually extend his lead against the Cassante. Or at least his CS lead, rather. He definitely is winning his fights, and that's really good for him and good news for Clown Gaming as a whole. Yeah. But the problem we're running into is that he's not actually making new things happen.
Play from the Thresh, hook will not connect. We did see flashes down on that previous engage there from the Karma and the Jace both of them having their flashes traded. Good awareness on the side of the Jace, knowing that they... Oh, and there we go. That was exactly what we were talking about with the W to block the Mordekaiser engage. Now, he might still be able to get the kill here, and I believe he will.
Oh,
Yes,
does he have his
will.
W?
Does
Okay,
not that
he
time.
gets out from the turret.
Yeah.
So Clown Gaming is officially on the board for kills.
Mm-hmm. And exactly where we thought that it would end up coming to. We said that the Mordekaiser would be a stronger matchup as the game went on into the Cassante. It is proven right there, even despite that health trade from the previous trade that happened. Ended up being particularly impactful because it put Cassante in kill range, even despite pretty good play from Fenbach to block the Mordekaiser ultimate. We see Shyvana going in on the Jace, but will not be able to put him in the ground. The Jace solo kills her. Solo from the mid laner, and he will take the Herald as penance.
Jace was already a half item up on her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a good time to be jumping in there. I think that Shuwu might not be as comfortable on this pick, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, Shyvana is one of my actual champions in solo queue, right? I'm sitting up plat 3 just spamming Shyvana.
Gotcha.
I don't really care much for the heavier damage version.
Right.
I actually don't play Triforce. I play pretty much pure tank, so I don't have as much to say on that. But what I can say is that there have been a couple instances where the ults have just not been there, right?
Right.
Missing in bot lane, using flash for no real reason when Thresh came at him.
Right.
If all you have to do is get over the wall, you can do that with a Shyvana ultimate. You're unstoppable during the duration. There's no reason to ever use your flash in that, right?
Right. Watching some trading back and forth here on the top lane, it does look like it might be committed to a kill. That was another dodge onto the Mordekaiser ultimate. It does not finish, but this might be the exact same thing again. He is just going to run down Fenbach. The same mistake played out here again from Fenbach, not respecting the Mordekaiser damage that will come out, not respecting the fact that he is a Cassante who will not be able to get through some of these tankier champions early on.
So I don't know about you, but the pixelation has gone away, and now the frame rate is gone.
Right. But we do see ulti coming in from Ziggs. That'll be a double kill from Kills. Should have killed off both of them there. I don't know if both of them went to him in the pockets. The Rift Herald comes in. That'll be a destruction onto turret. They're going to be pushing forward for the inhibitor here. I don't believe this will be an end angle quite yet from... Or are they going for it? They might be going for the end angle here. They do have teleport from Fenbach if he decides to use it. Rift Herald gets another charge off. That's the second turret destroyed. No, they just take the turret and back out. They do not use Fenbach TP to complete the end angle, but that is a Nexus turret destroyed at 19 minutes into the game.
Yeah, this is a 6.5k gold lead, 7 kills, about to be a dragon up, And going into an Ocean Dragon, that may actually be enough. If Fenbach can chill out in this matchup, that actually may be enough to neutralize the health bar difference between him and Mordekaiser.
Hold on here. We're seeing some pings here from Clown Gaming onto the Baron. They might be trying to rush it the second that it spawns. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether they do commit to this. They will have Ziggs ulti up, and I believe that is around 10 seconds. No, they're going to commit for the kill onto the Cassante first. That is going to be Hook missing. That is going to be W landing, but unstoppable, and that is the jump away from Cassante. Cassante gets out with the usage of the R. They're going to be following here, but it does not look like they will have enough to get on top of him. He turns around and goes back through the Karma. He is alone in 3 people, but he is going to continue to attempt to escape. That is the hook. That is the lantern from the Thresh pulling him back away, and that is a solo kill from the Jace in their base. It goes back into Duskblade, and that is a Q from the Jace to finish off Kaisa as well. That is a double kill at 1 HP from Induced in the enemy base, and an escape in a 4v1 from the Cassante with the help of Thresh Lantern.
Yeah, right now we're into pretty much go next territory.
Yeah, at this point it should be mentals.
I'm usually the never surrender kind of guy. This is not one of those.
Mordekaiser is going to be in the Death Realm trying to kill off Thresh, does not manage it, and the second that he comes out, it is an absolute attack from the side of Dorado Gaming. All three of them waiting there for Sims and finishing him off as well.
I feel for Sems because
Yeah.
there is nothing but Sems on this team right now, and you can do a lot as a Mordekaiser who's like decently into the game, but
Right.
what you're not gonna do is beat the 6-0 Jace, the 4-0 Ziggs. You know, the threats we said cannot get ahead are
Yeah.
so massively ahead that the game has been over for minutes.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for it to end.
Yeah. And that was another kill down. That is the second inhibitor turret. That is teleport coming in from Cassante. I believe this will be the finish onto the final Nexus turret. Shyvana goes in and will be able to finish off the Ziggs. That is a shutdown for the Shyvana. Cassante is chasing her and will finish off his own kill. They do manage to catch off Thresh, and this will be a shutdown onto the Jace as well. The damage will be coming through, and the kill will be going onto the side of Kaisa, which, if you are Clown Gaming, this is a much-needed boon at the end of this game. You are down to your Nexus, but you did manage to get some gold back. You got important shutdowns onto important targets, and you got a few people off of the map. It does not look like they will have enough time to rush for Baron, seeing as their jungler is also down. But yeah, good fight from them for sure.
Yeah, if you're gonna be 8K down, you might as well go down fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Goose has a little bit of gold in his pocket now. Now he's mainly lethality still, so it's not like he's going to be jumping into these fights and actually putting out the numbers yet.
Right.
Not really until that next item where you're actually able to truly team fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now we also see, one more kill going on to the Mordekaiser. Even Shyvana grabbed a kill. Let's see, what is that Shyvana's building? Is that... Yeah, Sterix. You're not going to get the kind of value you might need.
Hook lands onto Mordekaiser. That is going to be the Flay. That is going to be Mordekaiser ulti coming out onto the Thresh. Attempting to solo kill him. Will not be able to finish off the solo kill before the Death Realm ends. That is Maokai ultimate coming down. We'll be getting a root onto multiple members here. That is going to be Cassante in the front of the fight, and damage from the Ziggs to finish off both the Mordekaiser and the Shyvana, and Clown Gaming is routed. They are attempting to run. Rel does manage to escape the fight, and the Kaisa also escapes as well, but this is 5 members in the base versus 3 members left with an open Nexus, and this is looking like all she wrote for Clown Gaming's hopes in Game 1. That is the hook coming through onto the Thresh. That is a kill traded from Maokai and Rel. That is going to be Cassante will be finishing off. No, and it will be Jace getting the final kill onto the Kaisa, and this is just a bit of stat padding from Dorado Gaming at the end of a dominant Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishing out with about 9,000 gold and 12 additional kills over top of Clown Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Even that doesn't really fully describe how one-sided this game honestly was.
Mm-hmm.
The only saving grace was in top lane where we expected it to be.
Right.
I would like going into Game 2 to really see some adjustments. We need something a little bit different. If that's grab a little bit more of an active jungler, or maybe a little bit more of a power pick mid, I'm not sure. Maybe Goose gets a champion that he's a little bit more comfortable on, though apparently in other leagues like Divinity we have seen Goose grabbing the Kaisa successfully. So
yeah,
we're gonna see a different draft. We have an entirely different ADC from when this was drafted anyway. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that Game 2 Clown Gaming just pulls their mental back, does something different, and does it well.
Yeah, and if I'm them, I think like you mentioned, I think that the mid lane is the point of leverage that they should attack most directly, right? Namely in the fact that their mid laner does play these sort of aggressive picks. You have a mid laner who has a very good history on like things such as the Fizz, a pretty good history on things such as the Renekton, and has played some aggressive picks such as Tristana mid in the past. Like he has things that can play more aggressive, and you ended up putting him onto a Karma, which is not the worst pick in the world, but like knowing that these are the way that the matchups have played out, right? You had a couple early kills going to the Ziggs bot lane, and it's not like I believe that Goose performed particularly poorly across the whole game, but you need to leverage your strong points early on, because in this game one, right, Cooper's pathing, despite being a lot of CS down, was particularly good for backing up his lanes at like critical moments. The early gank going over to get the 2 kills for Ziggs, and the assistance behind them for early objective control, things of that nature. Like it was a good game from Cooper's side on the jungle, right? So what that tells us is that if you have to, find a strong point on the map, I think it is going to have to be in these solo lanes. Right. And I'm going to take a break here for a second just to bio.
Fair enough. Yeah. Are we muted right now?
steamroll, admittedly from the side of Dorado Gaming, but some good moments from Clown that we can definitely pick up on for game two, and some good notable, you get a solo kill, 2 solo kills out of the side of Sems, and some good plays in defense of their base. So hopefully this game is a little bit closer for sure.
Yeah, we definitely saw a couple of signs of life, even as, we're having cardiac arrest on the table. But
Mm-hmm.
what I want to see is something out of this mid. I don't want to see Karma anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Throw away the pick, just do something else, make it interesting. But what we don't need is another entirely ineffective pick in what should be our closest lane,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have the advantage top. We saw that, the one solo kill did go over to the Cassante, but at this point, you want to be able to make the top side of the map yours.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to do that is to actually play for it. Karma doesn't do that.
Yeah, for sure. And to be fair, granted, they went into this draft assuming that they would have their starting AD carry, and maybe they had practiced, solo carry versions of the game with Adishon, right? But yeah, definitely for sure, you need to adapt this version of draft, and hopefully we see something different here. It appears that both teams are ready. We are ready production. So, yeah, the second that we start up this draft, let's see what we get out of it. We do have the teams swapping sides. I believe this is BOL just swaps back and forth, right? It's not loser chooses.
I'm not totally sure, but I'm pretty sure it's just swap.
Okay. Yeah, so we do have, yeah, we do have them just swapping sides here. Which should be interesting to see. And again, from game one, we did have that Syndra ban in the first rotation. Worried about that out of the side of Destiny. Or, pardon me, sorry, out of the side of Induced Destiny.
Do we know if Briar is enabled on this patch? Or not on
Ooh,
this patch, but in this week of games for BOL?
yeah.
Because honestly, looking at some of the champions that Anderson plays, that could be a pick that could potentially come out.
Mm.
I see a message in the lobby chat asking if there are technical difficulties, which, I mean, we are not seeing the draft starting for whatever reason, so we very well might. There we go.
Rad. Okay, so there we are. We're getting it started up here. And yeah, like you mentioned, on the side of iDivinity, when when you manage nearly 70% win rate on one of your more aggressive picks, for sure, the karma definitely from production side, just a sad thing to witness.
Yeah. Let's see. We're seeing the Ivern band coming out potentially again. Possibly. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Have we been seeing Ivern coming out from Shuwu so far?
I have not seen it a lot. It is not showing in his history unless it has been showing specifically in their game history. Um, I'm gonna give it a look just to okay.
Gotcha. Okay. So there have been some comp games for that. No big deal. We see the Tryndamere band coming out. Do we think that maybe the Quinn gets left up?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting pick to see. We do see again the Syndra first phase Syndra ban. Divinity not wanting any part of this Syndra pick whatsoever. Strongly disliked. And the Belveth, of course. Cooper, a good Belveth player, and Belveth in a good spot in the game right now. Double bans levered at Anderson Cooper.
And we
And if
potentially see the Kaisa coming out instead of the Quinn.
Yeah, if this holds up, this is going to be an open. Nope, they are
Nope.
they are trolling us.
Oof.
Kaisa left back up. Quinn is banned at the last second,
Yep. So the
making
only
it
thing
spicy.
changed so far is that Clown banned the Xinjiao instead of the Senna. And
Mhm.
that's because they wanted to take the Senna first. Nice.
Right. Yeah, that'll be first pick Senna. I believe it should be from the support role from from the side of Funny Dud. He doesn't have any games on it showing though, so unless it could be possible that it is an ADC Senna or some sort of farming support lane. Lucian picked back over from Dorado Gaming. That is a flex pick for both mid and ADC. We typically see it more ADC nowadays, but
Yeah, and
it is a flex, and Deuced has played it.
we do have the potential for the marital dispute bot lane.
Mhm.
See, Volibear, I would have to check the current stats on Volibear. It hasn't been my favorite pick in the jungle for a while.
Yeah, I believe that is most likely going to be over to Anderson Cooper. It is showing currently that he has played 8 games on it in this half of the season, in this split so far. So, odds are also in theory you aren't, granted, it could be a flex, but in theory you're not going to pick your top laner this early in the draft.
And we have the Ornn top, and
Just
Trundle
proving me
jungle.
immediately.
Yeah, of course. You're not allowed to be right for any long period of time. That's
Not
really
allowed to do analysis here for sure.
they've been threatening to take down our analysis all night.
Yeah. And with that, yeah, we have the Ornn and the Trundle. The Trundle, I mean, like so far as a combo goes, the two of them, that'll be an easy like knock it up, set it down for any sort of assuming that they have an artillery mage of some sort or a strong AD carry, like they have good setup thus far. And
Also,
Nautilus over from support.
the Trundle Pillared makes it so easy to just get an Ornn E.
Yeah.
It's just the simplest little ganking combo you can do.
Mhm.
And if you time it right, if you practice it a lot, you can do it almost instantly with no reaction available.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like for definitely. So you get the Trundle. I mean, sorry. Let me finish one of the sentences that I started there. When Trundle Pillar goes up, also in any sort of team fight scenario, river, any sort of like close knit fight. You get Ornn ulti over the top, you get Ornn knockup, you get Ornn Q. They have Wombo for days here. We see the bans out of the Irelia and the Vex from the side of Clown Gaming. Vex not one of the most played from the side of from Induced, but definitely slightly worried about that here.
I actually really love the Shen pick here because
Mhm.
Shen really neutralizes a lot of what Ornn wants to do in his trading pattern. Because you
Mhm.
just press W at the right moment, and then all of a sudden, Ornn's damage is gone. The brittle proc
Right.
does nothing, and you get to walk away.
Mhm.
Plus, Trundle, Senna, both looking to just auto you down. I think this Seraphine pick is pretty interesting. It works
Yeah.
really well with the run you down picks like Trundle. So the Senna Seraphine is probably a lane there. And yep, and then we have the Nefiri going
And
mid.
Nefiri. This will be the first time personally seeing Nefiri in a comp game this patch, which will be, kind of interesting to watch. They do still have there is still no and this plays to what we said, an aggro pick from the side of Divinity. However, mid lane still not locked in, confirmed whether it's going to be a flex or not. Hovering here between the Cassiopeia and the Silas, and now just hovering everything Nico. Azir, he's still going, Annie.
You don't need anything that spectacular to win this lane, but I would like to see some scaling damage coming out from this pick because otherwise you're falling off after the mid game. And the
Yeah,
Cassiopeia does that really well. I like that pick.
yeah. The Cassio both going to be good into the Nefiri early on. We'll be able to get some good harassment onto her. The W, of course, to stop some of the follow through. From the gap close from Nefiri. And when you come into a team fight, right, just being able to set up with Cassiopeia W where you are, where your Ornn and your Trundle are going to be coming through, plus the tank damage, DPS to tanks. Yeah, a good well-rounded comp from Dorado here. And like you said, the Shen, gonna be there to protect both of these, the Lucian and the Cassiopeia, either if either of them find themselves caught out, or if either one of them want to play a little bit more aggro in a fight.
Yeah, this game to me is really going to come down to, can Nefiri and Trundle actually run down the carries?
Right.
Because you have the Seraphine and the Senna to back it up. You have the
Mhm.
Ornn to even set it up, but you need your actual damage sources to do something at some point.
Right.
The problem we're going to see is I don't actually know if Nefiri, unless Nefiri is crazy ahead, I just don't know if the damage will be there to finish off Cassiopeia fast enough to avoid all of the peel that's available.
So interestingly enough, I think you're right. I don't think that Neferi will 100% be the like, the main damage source when it comes into a team fight. But a lot of people it will depend on build, on how they decide to itemize, right? But a lot of people they look at the Senna Seraphine lane simply for the heals and the shields, which are important. But like Senna scaling as it goes on, and Seraphine, if she decides to itemize rather than something like the Staff of Flowing Water, if she decides to itemize into something like the Leandries, which might get good, value here, right? There will be a good amount of damage coming out of Senna and Seraphine as well. So, like, assuming that we get to a mid to late game team fight state, watch out for them to be doing a little bit more damage than expected to some of these tanks in the front line.
Yeah, and to their credit, they have a slightly better damage spread, though they're much more AD heavy this game. So if
Mhm,
I'm Shen or if I'm Volibear, there's gonna just be a big pad of armor. Because
mhm.
honestly, do you expect Seraphine to be pumping out enough damage to kill Volibear and Shen? That's what it comes down to, and I just don't think it's gonna happen.
It
So
depends. I think it depends on who is farming here, which is an interesting. I assume that it's going to be the Seraphine that's farming, right? And assuming that she itemizes towards like I've that's one of the ones that I've played a fair amount of in comp is Seraphine, either mid or AD carry. And if she has the damage to itemize first two items into Leandri's Void Staff, she does a good amount of damage to tanks, specifically with that empowered Q.
yeah, the problem you're gonna run into though, right? The main issue is that other than the dash on Nefiri,
Yeah.
everyone has to walk into this.
Right, through the damage of Dorado Gaming for
Yeah.
sure.
And you know what you do if you're Dorado? You say Cassiopeia, press W.
Hmm.
Now, not even Nefiri can dash in. You're
Yeah.
just, all right, now you have to walk through Shen, through Nautilus, through Volibear, just to get to the carries. There's so much peel, so much ability to back this up. You do have the Trundle to soften it down a little bit,
Hmm.
but at some point, right, you can take 40% of the armor, but if you have 400 armor, you're still going to be out tanking probably the couple of items that the Senna will likely have.
Yeah.
You're
I
probably going to survive the first round of spells of Nefiri, which against most of your assassins like that, the first round of spells is the most important thing you have to get through. It's Trundle you have to survive at that point, and you back up, you CC, and you wait for his ult to end.
I think a successful fight from Clown Gaming looks something like, I mean, they've got the Wombo obviously for sure. If the thing that I would be worried about from Clown on the side of Dorado is assuming that Cassiopeia is allowed to continue into an even game state, because Cassiopeia is the one that you will find the hardest amount of damage to, like the hardest champion to guarantee damage onto, right? Things like the Shen, the Nautilus, the Volibear, the Lucian, you can get good damage onto those with, like, all you need is Senna Seraphine laying their spells over the top and you should be golden. But the Cassiopeia, you will never be able to catch her if that first engage does not catch her.
Yeah, she's going to back up. She's going to turn around and press R on you. You're going to watch your health bar just go away.
Hmm.
I mean, you're probably going to be eating Lucian R at the same time just for
Hmm.
funsies. It's just not going to be pleasant trying to run at this team.
Yeah.
I
and
think
and,
that
and
Dorado did a.
follow. Oh,
No, sorry.
sorry.
I
Oh,
was just going to say,
sorry.
all right.
Time out. You go first.
All right. I was just going to say, I think Dorado did an excellent job of building a let's run backward comp.
Yeah, for sure. And with the speed from Cassiopeia that she gets from the Q, and assuming that she will be running I'll be interesting to see your rune choice here because a lot of Cassiopeias still run Phase Rush from what I recall or Conqueror. If they're running something of that sort, like the move speed that Cassiopeia gets without any guaranteed CC, like point and click from the side of Clown Gaming, like yeah, the backup as you filter into me and just free DPS from Cassia will be, you know, it's it all depends like what sort of I think setup it gets for fight. If it's in a choke point and you catch Cassiopeia, it's good for Clown. But if it's if she's able to back up and continue DPSing as you file forward, it's gonna be rough.
Now, on the other side of that, I do think that a lot of the aggression that Dorado wants out of their bot lane, you have a lot of ability to negate that when you're playing the Senna Seraphine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can mitigate, the first front loaded chunk from that Lucian, you can heal that back up, just really step back and wait for it. You can always come back in. You're probably not going to out farm the Lucian, but you may be able to outscale him and just wait on it.
Yeah.
The Ornn into Shen, it's going to be just the wet noodliest of wet nude fights. It's just not going to be a fun lane to watch in any capacity. I'm not going to lie to our viewers here. But jungle, Trundle versus Volibear, that is a great matchup. I love that. That is pure let's bite each other in the face matchup.
And this is gonna get spicy as we get to those first few team fights. Assuming the game state is even, like level 2 item spike from like both of these teams, both of them are in a pretty good position. I would give the advantage slightly to Clown on a level 2 item spike, but like these first few, like mid-game team fights, 1 item, 2 item, are going to be explosive, I think.
Yeah. Now, if you're on 6 items sitting at 40 minutes, I definitely think that I would put this in favor of Clown Gaming. They have the Ornn, they have the Senna, they have the Seraphine. They have a lot going on for them. Whereas the real scaling threat on the side of Dorado is just the Cassiopeia. But
which we notice here in the draft taking the Ghost. So definitely playing for her own lane. Are you so my timer is at 5, 6, 7, 8.
yep,
Are we
I'm
synced?
on the same timer as you. Yep.
Cool. Yep. Right. And it's what is the control zoom out? Is it control Z and then shift Z? Cool. And then 30.
Yep.
That is Flash from the side of Flash is traded from the side of Nautilus, who flashes forward. They try to engage into the mid lane. Divinity's Flash burnt as well. You're going to take that if you're the Nautilus side of this. No flash on the mid laner into a Cassiopeia could be a frustrating early situation. 2 wards down already on the top side. Defensive wards from the side of Clown Gaming.
Plus, Sunray has the Hex Flash. He's not going to actually miss his flash nearly as much. You have the range versus melee matchup in favor of the Cassiopeia. You're kicking yourself a little bit if you're Divinity. Now, we do see pretty standard stuff across the board. I'm not seeing anything all that interesting, honestly.
The top lane start from Cooper is going to be pathing down towards the bot lane, which obviously, you've got a Lucian Nautilus. You're going to want to do things for them early on. Interesting pathing from the Trundle, though. Not anticipating that is going to be pathing away from his Senna Seraphine. I feel like that might leave them volatile.
And you can definitely see where if he had wanted to try to pull something in bot lane, he could have theoretically gone into the Raptors, Krugs, hit the level 3 and gone bot. But it looks like he's going to path away instead, try to get an interesting choice of going full clear. not usually the best way to run the early game on Trundle.
Engage hook from the Nautilus. You see the immediate cleanse and flash from the Senna, but a very good trade, and that is every summoner spell burnt besides the Seraphine Flash, already from the side of Clown Gaming. Dorado advantaging this, taking advantage of excuse me.
Speaking is hard. So we do see Sems getting it. We do see Sems getting a pretty decent little health lead over Fenbach up in the top lane, where it's mostly going away. We see Fenbach burning his potions, getting a little bit back out of it. Overall,
we see Trundle mid, no gank comes through. Just a little bit of a pressure gank. Wave is shoving into Cassiopeia, so she's going to get advantage from that. A little bit of damage onto the Neferi, but obviously nothing to confirm it. Just the hop away, and she's good. Taking stock early on. We get some good. I mean, the pathing from the Volibear, particularly strong, and up in camps thus far. He's definitely got more tempo on his clear.
A little bit of a fail E there, not hitting the scuttle.
Oh yeah, timing it not quite perfectly for sure.
This has been some really odd pathing coming out of Trundle, to be honest. Usually you would have seen that 3 camp into top if you were really going to run that. Oh, and we see a huge fight going on in mid lane. We might see a first blood coming out. And Neferi pulls it out.
Yeah, completed by the Neferi. An overextension there from the Cassio for sure, wanting to take advantage of the flash being down, but underestimating the damage. Volibear, though, will flash forward to trade the kill back. Should definitely shove this wave in. Wow, both.
Yeah, Cassio is still sitting on pots and flash.
Underestimating the damage from Neferi for sure.
Now, gold is dead even. It's not like we have any huge advantages anywhere so far. That 1 kill for Neferi is pretty big, though. We're about to see some additional damage going on to Fenbach. And Sems gets a nice kill up there.
Yeah, a good kill from the side of Clown Gaming, taking advantage of the Shen that was overextended. And like you said, the matchup, where you have the Ornn and the Trundle. Still a little bit of a level lead from the side of Neferi here. You notice that she's more than halfway towards 6, whereas Cassiopeia is just crowning 5 now. So this level 6 power spike might be an interesting thing to keep a look at there. We see an early back from the Nautilus here. Gonna get a few pots for defense. Not looking to roam yet.
And now one thing we hadn't really talked about, Senna is the one farming in this matchup.
Interesting. So the gold will not be going on to the side of the Seraphine. I mean, obviously we'll see how it plays out as it goes further, but I believe that the math is that the stats from souls from Senna are a lot stronger, and that obviously then being able to actually get some tank cut tools from Seraphine would be a better allocation of resources in my mind.
Yeah, especially since now you're looking at a situation where everyone who has gold is going to be affected by armor, right?
Right.
There is magic damage that comes out of Ornn. I won't ignore that because Ornn likes to just take away half of your health for free.
Right.
But if I'm playing Shen or if I'm playing Volibear, this is just a game where I stack some armor.
Yeah, for sure. We see the side of Clown Gaming forcing Volibear out of the river. He does still have a ward that they were not able to clear out. So vision around the dragon pit. Cooper's still going to see Trundle entering this pit. Not sure if he knows that they're starting it for sure, but and they have some defensive warding on this Volibear. Dragon is currently at about 2/3 HP. Volibear coming back in Currently a level advantage onto the side of the Trundle. That is going to be a flash away from the Trundle, but a root onto the Volibear, and the Volibear will go down. They're going to continue chasing onto the Lucian. Lucian to flash away. Nautilus to also use his flash. 2 flashes burnt, both of them at half HP. Cassiopeia comes in and gets the kill onto the Seraphine with the ulti and with the W. Nefiri jumps over the wall to chase the Lucian, but will not be able to finish off the kill. Nautilus also to get away, and the flash back from the Nefiri to go back over the wall. That is currently a trade of, I believe, 1-1 in the total kill score there. She will see the Cassiopeia backing and will lock onto the Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia flashes away, and now Nefiri is overextended. That is going to be a hook from the Nautilus, and the kill goes back over to Cassiopeia, an overextension from iDivinity that will now put the Dorado Gaming in possession of the dragon, should they choose to accept it.
Yeah, now we're just seeing a lot of greedy positioning in that one. You know, if you're Nefiri, you don't need to still be there. Take what you got, take it back, relax, you know, set yourself up to succeed. Don't try to force something you don't need. Now, it's only a 400 gold difference. It's not like it's the end of the world. Lucian's still low on health. Nautilus still low on health. They did not get a chance to back. So now the health bar lead is going to give them the advantage on this dragon. It looks like it's going to go with the side of Clown Gaming.
Yeah, not able to finish it off, not able to get pressure in the bot lane, so it will go back over to Clown. So, all told, we do have the first strike over to Clown's side. However, we did give money back over to Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia still behind on levels, but 2 kills now, right? And if we look at the gold there,
I would like to also point out, if you look at this bot lane, there is a 21 CS lead for this Lucian. Like, it is not going so well for Senna in this bot lane. Now, it's not coming out in terms of kills yet. So, if you keep it going, if you just take your time, you can get it back. The real problem is that right now, what you're looking at is just a big gold lead that's going to turn into lane advantages and hopefully rotation advantages for Dorado.
Yeah, Cooper able to force the Trundle out of the jungle. Not a level lead quite yet, but definitely was a bit stronger than the Trundle at this stage of the game. You know, having finished that Sheen in opposition to the Caulfield's Warhammer will amplify Volibear's damage a little bit here. Interesting to see whether that means that he's going to go for Iceborne Gauntlet here. I believe that should be the build. I'm not certain if Volibears run Divine Sunder normally, but
it was the norm for a while. I don't know what the current build is for that.
Yeah. We see Trundle taking the top side. Scuttlecrab going to be pathing down towards mid. He is spotted by a ward. Cassiopeia does notice, backs off wisely. Back up to farm. She does have, the move speed bonus from her Q whenever it lands. So assuming that, she puts herself in this. Yep, she puts herself forward, but is still able to get away with the W. That is going to be ulti coming in from Senna. Stun onto both from Cassiopeia, but she is still in a 1v2 scenario. The damage from Nefiri will come out and finish her off. Volibear flashes in, but it's not enough to secure the kill. Nautilus is coming up from below, is going to not engage. Volibear just being beaten down by the Trundle and will have to ult away to safety.
Simultaneously, up in the top side, we also see a big crash coming in from Sems going up, really pushing this lane constantly. Nobody's showing up topside. Volibear has left this island alone, so you might as well get whatever you can out of it.
Yeah. About an equal state so far as health goes there from both of them. Sems pathing away. Level disparity kind of about the same as well. Ornn actually a little bit behind on levels here. We'll probably equalize it when he picks up this wave. We see a recall coming in from the side of Nefiri. The ward in Rivers spotted by the side of Clown Gaming. A recall also coming out from... Are they going to commit to it? Recall comes out from Seraphine, but not from Senna. Senna now to back up and begin recall. However, that does mean that this entire wave is going to be lost for the side of Clown Gaming. Dorado Gaming able to get what appears to be a freeze off here. I think it should equalize by the time that the next wave comes in.
We did see Fenbach being forced to flash by the Ornn ult up in top lane. And now
Okay.
we see a heavy advantage over to Clown
Cooper
Gaming.
coming in. Cassio is caught by Neferi in the river. Cassio continues to attempt to run away, but Neferi putting damage into her from all sides. Gonna flash and is going to tag her with the first side of the Q, and I believe the bleed will finish off the kill. A solo kill from Divinity onto the Cassiopeia.
I'm really happy we're getting this in game 2. I think that iDivinity got a raw deal in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now the big problem we're gonna have is gonna be this Lucian,
Mm-hmm.
but the gold really isn't mattering nearly as much when we have this 2v1 situation going on.
Yeah. TP comes in from Sems to defend the Herald take. This should just be a free Herald take from the side of Clown Gaming. And the next Drake coming up in 40 seconds. They are in a stronger game state right now, it feels like, from the side of Clown Gaming. So assuming that they position for this, this will be a good objective lead. Engage from the side of Fenbach, taunt goes in, but was not expecting the presence of the Trundle coming up behind. The two of them just beating them down. Not a lot that Fenbach can do to escape from this, and that will just be a kill back over with the ulti coming through for the assist onto Fenbach. The kill goes over to Trundle. Currently, Shu having a lot better of a game, is now 3-0 in this game.
Yeah, and quietly, we have Goose really getting to just throw out a free assist here and there with the Senna ultimate, grabbing a little bit of gold back from what was not maybe the best lane that he could have had.
No, chain vests. Yeah, I see that. I see that as well. He must be multi-building towards Sunfire and his mythic, just itemizing for the sake of I don't know if that's for lane. I believe Shen does mostly magic damage, but
and we see Funny Dud just get taken out for nothing right there.
Yeah, and they trade the two top lane turrets for the Drake on the side of Dorado.
Now the hard part's going to be now you don't have anywhere to really go in this top lane, right? You have to figure out what you're going to do with Ornn from now on.
Right.
Ooh, good trading coming back out from Goose. You don't want to chase that any further now that you can see that, but
comes in, and the ulti from the side of the Nautilus, that is the immediate cleanse and flash. Cooper jumps under turret, is going to, I believe, will not die just barely by the skin of his teeth. Lucian to get the kill, Nautilus to go in, but Shen is tanking the turret. It will be a kill traded back over. The solo kill goes over to the side of the Seraphine. Neferi comes in and cleans up 2 kills, is going to clean up the Lucian and the Volibear. And the Ornn has roamed. Ulti comes in onto Cassiopeia. Neferi jumps in and is going to just be putting her in the grave. That was an attempted dive from the side of Dorado that turns into 4 kills for Clown Gaming. A strong start here.
Oh, good escape coming out of the Nautilus too, because that could have been a 5th.
Yeah, and like you said, the two members from last game that we needed to step up the most, the jungler and the mid laner, Shu and Divinity, are the two that are having the strongest games here from Clown Gaming, combining for 8 of the 10 total kills that Clown Gaming has so far.
Yeah, this is looking like it could, and likely will be, Dorado's first game loss of the entire split. So we have
assuming that things continue as it stands so far, which would be a a bit of a feather in the cap.
Yeah, we have a 5k gold lead in favor of Clown Gaming, 10-6. We have even dragons, no big deal there, but additional turrets on the side of Clown Gaming, and that's looking like Kills is in a rough spot. He should
his
be able...
dash whiffs is picked off.
That is rough for the Vanquisher League admin from Titan Gaming.
That'll be mid lane taken by Clown Gaming. Yeah, a large, 6k gold lead that has opened up here. Yeah, pressure into the mid here. Nautilus goes in, but was not the hook that he was looking to find. Trundle will continue to tank. Will die to turret here, so the shutdown is given back over to Volibear, but that is 2 kills picked up from the side of Clown Gaming.
And that is a max power turret shot dealing about half of Seraphine's health on the way back. So you can understand why Trundle may have taken a little bit of damage there.
Yeah.
I do think that Ornn dropped aggro maybe a little bit early in that. Maybe could have taken a couple of shots to make sure that nobody had to die for that. But otherwise, that was a relatively good play coming out of Clown Gaming, and we still see a good 5K lead shrinking a little bit from the shutdown.
Yeah. And, if you're the side of Dorado Gaming here, all is not necessarily lost. You've got a Cassiopeia who will be scaling into the mid to late game. You will be doing decent damage as Lucian, but you have a team that is built to team fight that you are facing, and you are in a position where you are 5K behind. Your wallets in these team fights will be getting smacked.
Yeah. And it's a 2-level lead for Nefiri over Cassiopeia. It's a 1-level lead for Trundle over Volibear. Yeah. You have a lead for kills on the Lucian over the Senna. And top lane is even. So overall, if you're just talking total experience, you're also seeing an experience lead for the side of Clown Gaming. We're starting to position around the dragon that should be up shortly. More wet noodling up and top.
All right, a jump in from the Volibear, damage traded from Lucian. Will manage to finish it off the Seraphine, but he is currently being run down by the Trundle. Ulti comes in from the Shen, but I don't think it will. It will barely save him as he dashes out over the wall. The kill was traded back from the Nefiri. Ulti coming through from the Ornn is going to knock out both Shen and Nautilus. Cassiopeia stepping back forward, doing a little bit of damage. That is going to be an engage onto the Lucian from the Nefiri, who will finish her off. Shen knocked up by Ornn and put in the ground. Cassiopeia running away currently. Nautilus killed again. It is an absolute rout from Clown Gaming. All of the damage coming through and all of the kills coming through. 5, 4, 1.
If I'm playing Seraphine, I am saying worth. I get to just gray screen while I watch my team win that fight that hard. Excellent.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 every time.
Yeah. You know what I said about Cassiopeia scaling into the game? Currently not scaled at all, doing absolutely no damage to the horde of tanks filing into her face. And just watching her friends die one by one. Nefiri able to jump in and solo kill the Lucian out of nowhere with no recompense.
So now we have the Chemtech Drake going over to Clown Gaming. The problem that Clown Gaming is going to have is that Chemtech Drakes kind of suck. It's a little unfortunate that when they're this far ahead, they're not getting good things there too. But honestly, when you're this far ahead, you don't really need it.
Yeah, Dorado Gaming attempting to take the Herald. They currently have 5 seconds before, and they are just barely able to finish it off. They do claim the Herald before Baron spawns. Which I'm not exactly sure what they can turn that into here. Like, none of the turrets are low enough that it would solo kill them. They might be able to get mid if they stack up, but and the bounty will be helpful, but getting Prio to be able to use that Herald seems nigh impossible in the current game state.
Yeah, it's heavily likely that they just drop that somewhere like top lane, maybe to try to do a little bit of map splitting, or they use it to try to draw people away from Baron to maybe sneak a Baron.
Right.
Those would be kind of max value plays. Otherwise, it's going to sit in someone's inventory until they're forced to drop it.
Right. Yeah, the second item here coming through from Lucian, what do you think that this is going to be? Because that doesn't look like that's not going to be the Kraken Slayer, and it's not going to be the Infinity Edge.
That's not a Bloodthirster, is it?
Second item, Bloodthirster? I don't think so. Quick
Oh,
Blades.
Navori. Makes sense.
We see a solo kill in the jungle, or in the river, onto the Nautilus. Pings going down onto the Cassiopeia and onto the Baron.
We are
Senna
also
with
seeing
the Locket. Interesting decision. Attempting to keep the rest of her allies alive. She's already got the damage from the Umbral so not necessarily needed from additional damage there. Yeah, interesting choice.
it's bad when your tank is getting burst down by Nefiri.
Yeah, so they're going to be starting up the Baron here on the side of Clown Gaming. Trundle is tanking, is at about 3/4 HP. Ulti does miss from the Seraphine, but the Trundle Pillar goes up. Cassiopeia is exhausted, but damage is going back down over. She is trading damage. She is going to be able to solo kill the Seraphine. There is a ulti coming in from Shen. Cassiopeia still remaining alive. That is a kill on Nefiri. That is the shutdown. This is currently a 3v2. The Lucian is coming back in. Dear Lord manages to do some damage to the Ornn, is not barely going to finish him off. They're both at 1 HP, but they will pick off the Trundle. A miraculous team fight from the side of Dorado Gaming, with all of the shutdowns picked up across the board and only losing 2 in response.
What a terrible time to start that without Nefiri.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
In the overall, yes, eventually you get Nefiri 2 when you're on Dorado, but honestly, if you just play that as 5, or have, say, the Ornn with teleport up as the person in your side lane, you don't have to have that really awkward fight there. The 4v4 is depending on Nefiri, who has 8 kills.
Yeah, and the you know, interestingly enough, I believe that they just assumed that they were going to be able to kill off the Cassio quick enough, but here we see the value of the Conqueror along with that combo Seraph's Rod, right? The damage, just keeping her alive longer and longer, and the Shen, you know, it doesn't matter if your Shen was, I believe, 0-4 going into that fight. If he can ulti your Cassiopeia and then W on top of her to prevent, you know, damage from coming through, you know, that's all you need to do. Cassiopeia living forever. And I believe the Nefiri on the other side, not able to kill off the Lucian, who it looked like she was chasing, probably through the exhaust.
So now we have the Baron being started up. Dorado is not in a position to contest this yet, but the Baron's going down slow. So they're grouping up. This should be actually coming up just fast enough.
5k. He is Lucian is accelerating this Baron. You're not going to have your you're not going to have your Volibear range in time. So that will be Baron going down. The ulti canceled from the side of Ornn, but Nefiri is onto your Lucian and does solo kill him again. It is currently a 3v5. Cassiopeia attempting to trade damage, but in the middle of 5 people will only be trading her own life for nothing. And Shen beaten into the ground. Cooper on the Volibear left to watch as his team gets routed.
Yeah, I dislike multiple things that Dorado did there. You know, when you're setting everyone up to try to get to the Baron, you don't want to just ult the Baron and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Even if you don't actually get the Baron, set yourself up for the team fight. Have your ultimate ready to actually pump out some damage. Don't waste it on a target that the other team wants to take faster.
Right. And yeah, the damage, the quicker damage over from the Lucian, you know, and also the fact that Volibear there, I believe he was covering towards the bot side. He was coming up from bottom river, you know, so, you know, as much praise as we've been giving Cooper, poor positioning on that one, knowing the Baron was up to be cross map from that as the jungler. And good awareness by Clown to say, hey, the Volibear is nowhere near, let's just, you know, run this thing.
We're going to be here quite late tonight, aren't we?
I believe so, yeah. This is now going to 3 games. It will not be a 2-0 finish. And this looking like this game will be at least another, I imagine, 5 to, you know, 8 minutes, if that.
This game's really going to be decided by, does either of these teams make a really bad team fight choice again?
Yeah. Lucian also, building towards the Lord Dominix, has not completed it yet. When he finishes the Lord Dominix, you will now have some tank, like, additional tank cutting damage. So, like, if he's able to finish that before the next team fight, could be notable. Gank going through the bot lane onto Fenbach is going to flash away, but Nefiri W connects and will chase him down. Nefiri ulti also burned there. So we saw Shen flash and Death traded for Nefiri ulti there. So, going to be sieging bot lane. Trundle tanking the turret. Will take half of his health from the turret. A bit of a questionable decision by him. Waves attempting to be cut. Trundle is being Ornn goes in onto the Nautilus. Is knocked up, but will still be able to tag ultimate. Nautilus. Nefiri in onto the Lucian and will kill him this time through the exhaust. It is currently a 3v5. No, Nefiri Wolves managed to kill off Nautilus on the other side. 2v5. Trundle, Ornn recalling to attempt to teleport back in. Taunt goes down from the Shen onto the Trundle. Ulti comes out from the Volibear, but will not connect onto anyone. Cassiopeia to stun the Nefiri. Damage is being traded back out. Exhaust onto Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia stepping back up. Good damage traded, but already down to one Nexus turret remaining. Nefiri, no mana. Shen to taunt in, but will not hit absolutely anything. Ornn is tanking the turret. Turret is at half HP. Turret is doing damage, but not enough. Turret is down to a quarter, and the turret is finished off. There are no Nexus turrets remaining as Clown Gaming retreats.
Yep, everyone on the side of Dorado has now respawned. You're really just taking one more back, use your gold, come on back in, win even a little bit, and you get that win. You take one person from the side of Dorado and you've won this.
Yeah, and things looking nigh over. The Cassiopeia, whose damage scaling that we said would be relevant, not really quite there. An ulti coming in from Shen in the top lane, but a back off, not completing the kill. Damage coming in from the double Qs onto Cassiopeia, chunked to about 2/3 HP. That is no Shen ulti that you will have available for the Baron, I believe. It might come up just before it.
At this stage, since Shen is sitting at level 13, I believe that's still a 120 cooldown. I might be wrong.
So it is showing as just before. He's got a minute 20 on the ulti and a minute 32 on Baron. So lucky there that that his cooldown is able to be used in time. But yeah, good engage there, forcing it out and backing off, not committing through the Shen ulti.
Now the question is, do you even wait for Baron though?
Yeah, do you just group and attempt to end on open Nexus?
Yeah, if I'm Clown Gaming, honestly, all you have to do is not get caught by the biggest Cassiopeia ult ever, and Nefiri will do the work.
Yeah, no exhaust currently up from Lucian. Yeah, they know that the exhaust is down, and last time she killed him through it. Now, this is not to say I don't think Nefiri is unkillable, but we see the Ornn items coming through, right? She has the upgraded Ornn from the Eclipse into the Syzygy. We have the upgrade of the Divine Sunder into the Deicide. There are 3 currently, and all on their carries so far. I believe it looks like they will be starting up Baron. They're hovering over towards it, unless they're just using it as a bait here. We have 20 seconds onto what would be the soul for the side of Clown Gaming. Yeah, currently positioning as if just to start Baron.
Honestly, you can give one dragon, especially a Chemtech dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, not as worried about the soul, for sure. Yeah.
It looks like Dorado's just going to take the scraps they can get for right now.
Yeah, knowing that they're not strong enough to fight as things stand. Not having a surprising amount of, last game we had the Ziggs with the ulti, like something to layer over AoE while they were on the Baron. This game, nothing like that doesn't put yourself in danger, right? Even Lucian ulti can be just face tanked by a tank here. Nothing to force them off of that Baron.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to push in this top side, potentially see if they can get, one more additional inhibitor. All they have to really do is let this minion do its work. It seems like they're playing very respectfully, trying to do this slowly instead of playing fast, going through. And I can respect that. They're playing against the top team in the league.
Yeah, they don't want to brute force it. They want to, ensure to slowly starve and choke them out, which is, the smart way to go about it. Don't overextend.
Now we have Nefiri running through mid lane, forcing them to answer 2 lanes now. That turret will be going down on the next breath from anything.
Yeah. And the inhibitor, good damage coming through onto it from the Nefiri. That is currently nearly dead, about a 5th HP. And these 2 these 3 Baroned Up Cannonmans just beating it down. Mid inhibitor goes down. Top inhib turret will follow now. It is back to open Nexus. The Nexus can be damaged. Top inhib is going to be taken by the other 4 members from Clown Gaming. It is no inhibs. It is no turrets. And it is what appears to be no hopes from Dorado Gaming. That is the knock-up coming through onto Fenbach. That is the kill onto the side of the Nautilus. And that is going to be the kill onto Lucian, the kills onto everyone, and the kill onto the Nexus for the first loss game by Dorado Gaming.
And we have an actual series.
Yeah, and keeping stock of the things that we were interested in seeing from this series. You know, like we mentioned earlier, right? We had Divinity and Shu stepping it up, finishing with score lines of 12, 3, and 7 from the Nefiri, leading the table in damage as an assassin, which sometimes, you know, will not be the case. And 9, 2, and 16 from the Trundle. A good kill participation there from Shu. That is a 23 out of 31 kill participation. Pretty solid.
That is actually 25 out of 31.
25, bad math, even better.
Don't worry, we got the NA math here.
Yeah.
So I do have to give it to Shu. That was a much better game out of them. I cannot express that enough. How that is a huge change over game 1. Now, the big thing I want to see here coming out of Dorado, because now we're looking at Dorado as what adjustment do you make, right?
Yeah.
Take away some of these options from you want to take away some of these options like the Trundle, but that doesn't necessarily mean you actually need to ban it, right? All you have to do is play something that can actually outscale or outfarm. Trundle's ganks are fine. They're not like S tier ganks, right? You're not going level 2 running straight into a lane, getting a perfect pillar, and usually getting something massive out of it, right? You can still play something more aggressive than Trundle. You could pull out the J4 here, for instance, right? And you can get into lanes a little earlier. You can get things snowballing so that the Trundle doesn't end up mattering, right? If you're picking the Volibear, I mean, Volibear has the ability to be aggressive. It's fine, but he's still a run at you. It's a little bit slower. His damage does not scale at all. He not the greatest tank in late game either, so it's really an early to mid game pick. The only late game they had in this past game was the Cassiopeia, and they didn't really accentuate that in any way. They didn't have the greatest setup for Cassiopeia. I want to see something where they can go aggressive again, because aggressive worked for them, right? When they were pushing the issue, it wasn't something that they had to worry about anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, so there's some good hooks this game from Sunray as well. You know, same as game 1. And Lucian a good strong laner. However, I do think that yeah, the combination here of the double tank, double enchanter sort of setup, I think that kind of plays. If you expect this to be on the table for the next game as something that they can pull out, uh, you know, definitely look for either something that can more heavily punish it early, like index into an aggro jungler from the side of Dorado potentially to really snowball and shut these enchanters down early, or match the scaling. Find something that will scale as well, because you know Lucian, not the worst scaler in the world, but certainly not the best, especially from picks that Kills has. You know, he's got some things in his pack as well. You know, I'm looking at the things like the Trundle. I'm looking at his own Kaisa. You know, wait, did I say Trundle? Sorry, Tristana, not Trundle AD carry. Tristana and the Kaisa, things that will scale into late game from him as well.
The new 80 carry meta. Let's hit it with a club.
Yeah, Trundle bot lane. You know, sender, bud. The amount of times this game, I got Trundle on the brain here. Maybe I need to be bonked with that club. Like,
so
the amount of times this game.
the blueprint is here for both teams, right? You
Yeah.
want to win bot side for Dorado, and you want to win top side for Clown Gaming.
Mhm.
The question's going to be, how do you actually force that to be the game state for you, right? I
Mhm.
think that one of the best things about Clown Gaming's draft in that last one was that even though they lost bot lane, they lost somewhat gracefully.
Mhm.
Yes, they got down in CS, but they threw out some Senna ults to get free assists. They stayed in it. I'm still not the biggest fan of the fact that they decided to give the farm to Senna and then threw a
Yeah.
locket on Senna for some reason.
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of wasted gold and potential there, but it ended up working for them because all of their actual carry potential was in their mid jungle and to some degree top as well.
Mhm.
So going into this game, I really want to see Dorado pulling something out to not just win lane, right? They want to actually turn bot lane advantages into an actual winning game state. So I
Right.
don't think Lucian's the champion for that personally.
Yeah. Yeah, Lucian too heavy snowball reliant, right? You have to not only be ahead yourself, but you have to be able to play aggressively into the team that you are facing to, leverage that damage.
Yeah, and there are other picks you can pull out. Now, I can pull up the champions that Kills does play just to see kind of what we can do there for them. We see Tristana in the champ pool, we see Caitlyn in the champ pool, we see Sivir. Personally, I mean, Sivir is a solid champion. You can just wave clear for days and then decide,
Mhm.
okay, I have 500 CS now, I just win the game. Uh,
Mhm.
Personally, I think I'm with you. I think pulling out something like a Tristana is actually a decent look here because I want to see them actually pull something out after lane phase is done.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the good thing about the Ziggs there was that Ziggs, like, even though he can bully lane, he is still a relatively well scaling mage, right? He's still going to be able to hit his zone control, his wave clear, his damage onto objectives. If there is like not him specifically dealing damage to the objective, but if the enemy team is clumped around it, Ziggs like minefield plus ulti
I
kind of
can't
like who oh yeah, it is currently we have a funny dud here.
I can't move down because there are four in spectator. I need
Yeah,
Goose to move up.
or dud.
Or funny, yeah. Someone there.
Cool.
I didn't realize that it had me in the actual spot. Sorry about that.
All is well. All right, let's give it a look for yeah. An interesting thing last in the first half of this split, the Jinx actually, and this is after those Jinx nerfs had come through. I believe that was the end of last season that the Jinx nerfs came through. Uh, Still a really good win rate from kills. I'm interested to see whether that's something that he does end up pulling out because if it's going to be like a neutral scaling lane that you expect you're going to be winning, something like the Jinx could be very strong for you in the mid to late.
Yeah. So we see the adaptation. We see the Ivern ban being dropped for Nefiri. That makes sense.
Mhm.
And of course, we see Clown Gaming going back to the Senna ban now that they're on red side.
Mhm. Not wanting to put that in the pockets of, I believe it is Kills who plays the Senna on their team as well.
Oh, we see Ivern coming
Yeah.
out for Dorado.
Interesting. I'm interested to see whether that's a lane. Some people play the lane Ivern versions. Like a mid Ivern or a support, or whether it's a jungle Ivern.
So we see the Seraphine coming back. I wonder if we can get something a little bit more, aggressive, or at least, a little bit more contesting in the bot lane for Clown Gaming. Or if they're just going to go for something, they could still go for, I don't know, Seraphine Sona, something that where they're sitting all the way back for all I know.
I think if you were to play it with so far as support pool goes, I think I would probably look for something like a Taric if I were the side of Clown Gaming here, Seraphine Taric very good at still doing that same sort of, ulti plus Taric ulti being able to supplement the rest of your team.
And speaking of Jinx, a good call on your part there.
Yeah, I just like looking at it, it was like, well, if they've got something that's, if they're gonna get free scaling, Jinx is certainly a champion that likes taking advantage of free scaling. Now, my concern will be, I mean, that's an Amumu so far. Now, we don't know if that's some people play support Amumu. I don't know if that is something that is in the pockets here of Funny Dud. It looks like it is. So I'm interested to see whether that's going to be a bot lane Seraphine Amumu combo, right? Or whether the Amumu will be ganking, because that'll, I think, change the matchup a little bit, because if they've got triple engage things, they can pick off this Jinx early. Jinx not the most, mobile champion.
My big concern with a Mumu for this bot lane, right, is that Jinx Karma,
Mhm.
another one of those combinations that have the ability to just back up on you. You
Yeah.
you throw out the root, you throw out the traps, you just step back, and Seraphine and Mumu aren't going. They can kill you, but they're not going to do it so fast that you can't just kind of back up in the process. I don't think that I want a Mumu as my pick here.
Yeah, I think I would trade him to like if I were the side of Clown Gaming, I think I'd probably flex him to jungle and play something aggro at support. I noticed that let's see, where is it? It is Funny Dud's support pool. I mean he does have like the Xerath. That's the only thing from his support pool that jumps, and a bit of Lux, something that has more damage. So if a Mumu comes in, you can really chain a Mumu ulti, Seraphine ulti, and the damage from the other laner over the top.
So a
Tristana banned away.
couple things that
So,
come up here in terms of Seraphine. You definitely have very few like great options if you're trying to go like carry Seraphine in bot lane now that
mhm,
Senna's gone. But you could still just put the Seraphine either all the way into mid, which not my favorite option, but you could do it. Or you could
yeah,
have it in the true support role and throw in an ADC that actually works with her. You could still draft Ashe here.
mhm.
And Ashe actually tramples on some people in this matchup.
Yeah, that would be an interesting trade from the side of, let's see what Goose tends to play. You could play with something like a Varus. Varus Seraphine is a pretty solid lane. I've played that one before. He does have a couple games on Ashe across the seasons. Not one of his most played though by far.
But the call is in.
And they're sending it anyway. It will be the Ash. I've got the precognition on the Jinx. You've got the precognition on the Ash. Just the, good call. Yeah, for sure. Damage wise, though, I will say this: like Ash, not the highest damage AD carries. So far as mid lane goes, they might need something like heavy damage coming out from Clown Gaming here. Gnar coming in into the Ornn should be a good matchup. Nard W doing good magic damage to Ornn based off of, I believe it's max HP every time that he tags the passive.
Yes, now it is physical damage max HP, so armor does kill that damage quite a bit. It's why Gnar, you're not gonna, for instance, build like an ADC Gnar version. But
Yeah.
Gnar gets a lot of free procs off of Ornn in lane. You just want to make sure that you are not overextending when you do it. You don't want to try to really all in on Ornn unless he's already at like a quarter HP. And we
Yeah.
do have the Azir Gnar combo, which is going to be fun. You throw the wall up, you slam them into the wall, you make it a whole day of it.
Mm.
Now, we have Ashe Seraphine as a possible bot lane, or we could be grabbing a different mid laner right now. And we have a Nivea coming out.
Nivea.
So we
So
have scaling Wombo, like team fight craziness coming out of Clown
both
Gaming.
sides, both sides, really.
Honestly, yes. The Wombos are strong with these. Uh,
Mhm.
Ivern and Karma are just going to make it impossible to get through Jinx's health bar unless you are already ahead. Like
Yeah.
this supportive combo of jungle and actual support they're going to be able to make sure that this Jinx gets where she needs to go. So if your bot lane is ahead on the side of Dorado, you win this game.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, yeah, the Anivia from the side of Divinity. It is one of his more played mid laners from, I believe it was last season, second most played last season, good amount of games this season. But yeah, I'm interested to see because the thing that like put him over the edge last game was the aggressiveness from Divinity, the ability to really get in there and pick off, some of their important damage dealers some of these times. And, of course, Anivia can have a very different play pattern. Now, it's not that their damage is guaranteed to be low, but if Anivia doesn't get ahead, this is another one where, filing in, it's not like you have good return damage from the side of Clown if they aren't in a position of advantage. They've got to be ahead. Otherwise, like, Anivia not the highest damage in the game, Ashe not the highest damage in the game from negative power states.
Yeah. Now I will say Anivia has a 57% win rate against Azir, and Azir just got some nerfs to his early damage.
Yeah.
So
A
I
good
I
lane.
think that this is really just a wombo piece on the side of Dorado. I don't know that this is necessarily the strongest thing they could have drafted. I think that the Anivia is a great last pick on the R5. It's really given some Froggen energy. Um, I love the Ornn pick still coming out. I think there's a lot of confidence that Sems has in his ability to run it with Ornn. Uh, I think though that because Kills and Sunray have been able to really get these bot lane advantages, we're going to have to start worrying on the side of Clown Gaming. All right, what happens if this Jinx is ahead? What do we do
Mhm,
about that? And the answer is they don't have a way to get onto Jinx. They have an
mhm,
Amumu Q, and that's it.
mhm. Like at best, I mean, like they have some fishing options. They can fish with some of these things, like Ash ulti, but like assuming Kills is on his micro, paying attention to incoming abilities and things like that. Yeah, the only guaranteed thing that they might get is something like either a Nivea like wall catching him slightly out of position or a flash Amumu ulti. Like they're onto a lot of like guarantees if he's paying attention.
Yeah. I worry for Clown Gaming because this is going to be a rough lane to try to fight through. I don't
Hmm.
think that you out damage the Jinx. I do think that you get some decent trades as Ashe Seraphine. You know, you
Hmm.
get one you get one auto or one W off as Ashe, and all of a sudden Seraphine has instant root potential. Uh,
Yeah.
you have, a lot of damage that can come out of the Anivia, especially since she'll just be allowed to scale against the Azir unless someone can stop her. The Anivia damage is really your biggest problem if you are Dorado, because Anivia places that R in the middle of the fight and then just sits back, presses E a
Yeah.
couple times.
If she is ahead, which we assume that she will be because it's Azir and Ivern, right? It's not like you've got the best punish combo for an Anivia, like things that can come in and get kills on her early on. If she is allowed to scale and is allowed to hit damage, she will be a problem from the side of Dorado. If she is not, it feels like the fight gets murkier, you know, like their fight setup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the top side is once again favored for Clown Gaming. I
Hmm.
think they gave themselves a fighting chance in the bot lane as well. I think that Goose is completely capable of doing stuff. We actually saw a pretty good trading out of the Senna in game 2. I would have liked some actual damage on the Senna build, but it's
Yeah.
okay. Um, you don't need it when Nefiri is just running amok everywhere. So the question becomes, can they win bot lane? And now that we're in the 3-minute spectator delay, any final thoughts really?
Well, you mentioned bot lane. Early now, level one, like you said, sorry, English. Assuming that Jinx and Karma are allowed to, pick up some levels, unpunished, it should be in the favor of Dorado Gaming. However, level one, you can get prio and hold it if you are willing to overextend right early on, and you have to get down defensive vision and things like that. But like, assuming that Seraphine, most Seraphines take empowered E level one for defensive roots or things like that. But if they're playing specifically to get prio, if you take an empowered Q and you have Ash W, you can guarantee you guys hold level advantage for the first couple of minutes of the game, right? And that'll be, I think, an interesting thing to determine whether they do decide to do that or not. Because, if what you're trying to do is neutralize their bot lane as best as possible, it feels like an aggressive early start to prevent them from reaching an even game state for as long as possible might be in your advantage.
Yeah. And look, you don't get much out of ganking top, honestly, for either side. Maybe Ivern is able to lock down Ornn enough for Gnar to get a kill. I don't really think Gnar is the champion you need to get ahead. The only two champions on Dorado that matter in terms of trying to force a lead are Jinx and Azir. Either of one of them, great champions to get ahead. Top lane doesn't matter. Jungle doesn't matter. On the side of Clown Gaming, honestly, similar boat, but a fed Ornn would be nice.
Yeah, certainly.
Fed Gnar has kind of this weird gap, right? Where if you're only a couple kills ahead and you're fed, it's fine. It's a lead. You have to be Omega ahead for it to really turn into, all right, Gnar will solo carry this game.
Yeah, it's generally got to be that sort of I would put it at probably about a full item and maybe a half up on Ornn, that he will be able to just consistently run him down in solo kill. Like, if he's able to complete, you don't want to build Gnar like a full AD carry like you said, obviously, but I'm assuming that he's probably going to run Sunder in this matchup for sure, and then I'd still probably run something like a Black Cleaver, maybe, if I was him here. Something that like can penetrate their two tanks, right? And I think if he is that, he should be able to solo, like, not if not solo kill, at least solo push Ornn the majority of the game.
So I think it's interesting. iDivinity has the electrocute, so going for a little bit of that early trading against Azir. Not what I personally was expecting out of the Anivia, but I have seen it plenty of times. It's not like it's new. We have the Grasp of the Undying on Ornn. Not a ton of options, I suppose, but it kind of feels bad when you know you're not going to get great trades. So Karma and Amumu trading flash there.
Yeah, that's probably better for the side of the Amumu. Generally as the jungler, you want to be able to have advantage. However, that will remove some of his kill threat through the first couple of levels.
Yeah, I generally see it as if you, as a person with a gap close ability, trade flashes with someone who does not have a gap close ability, you're
Yeah,
probably
it's better
trading
for
up.
you.
So, in this case, the only gap close that you really have to worry about as a consistent thing is going to be the Azir. Let's see. I don't
The
play Azir.
shuffle.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, the Shurima shuffle. I was gonna try to name abilities, but I
Yeah,
don't play
shifting
Azir.
sands. It will be as E.
I don't play mid lane. I'm no nerd. uh,
Valid. Your timer is at, my timer's at 43, 44. Are
Same.
you correct? Okay, cool.
Yep, we are synced
Production
up.
50, 48, 49, 50, 55, 56. Okay. Anyway, so far as bot lane goes, it is dead even right now. Seraphine does level the empowered Q, does not use it on wave though, which means that this wave is going to be currently looks in the favor of Dorado Gaming. Yeah. So the aggressive level up not used, which means that Jinx has prio here. Top lane is just going to be dead even between Fenbach and Sem so far. Nothing much happening. Good bit of mana already wasted by the Azir. A third of the way through his mana pool, and we're barely, 30 seconds into lane. So I'd like to keep track of that and see if he gets beaten down by the Sinivia.
Yeah, one of the problems that he's going to run into right now is the fact that Anivia took that tier first. She doesn't need real damage early. Anivia's base is pretty high if she has the mana to actually use her abilities.
Yeah.
So tier start when you know that you're going to be trading up in your damage is just going to be favored for Anivia. I mean, the Azir early trading was nerfed. I just don't think that it's going to be great for him in this lane. No.
Anivia stun comes out. Will not prevent Cooper from getting the ward. Cooper does manage to clear the Anivia ward. The Ivern pathing down towards the bottom half of the map is spotted and does not have his bot lane here. They were able to get the cheater recall. Will be coming back with the dagger on Jinx. A little bit of empowered damage. Let's see levels. 3.5 to... Yeah,
Ooh,
that should
good
equalize.
predict. Up in the top lane, we have our first blood, though it is going to... Nope, does not quite trade back, so just a bad spot for Fenbach.
Yeah, and honestly, that's been a bit of a story through these couple of games so far. Unfortunately, Fenbach overextending a little bit is going to need to play this safer as the game goes on, just to, if he wants to continue for his team. Ivern Root will come in. It's only a little bit of damage onto Anivia, not enough that it will force her out of lane.
Now, she is a little low on mana, and she is behind in CS right now.
Interestingly enough, her flash was burnt at some point here. It's showing Anivia flash down. So, return gank there. Cooper going bot lane is going to spot out that ward, is not going to tag the Q, and will not clear the ward either. So, Vision still bot lane. Bot lane survives the gank. Their CS is even.
Big wave for Anivia to try to pick up here. That's rough when you don't have ult yet, because Anivia's autos are some of the worst in the game.
Yeah, you really have to use that E smartly when you're farming early on as Anivia. Yeah, Azir able to get the back.
See, we are looking at a 3-man bot. And Amumu reveals himself, so that's an entirely wasted time.
Yeah.
There's no camps nearby, so he's going to waste another 30 seconds before he gets to do anything. He's moving toward Dragon. I don't think he's going to try it because his Dragon speed is abysmal on that champ.
Yeah.
So Mumu just kind of walked around for 30 seconds without doing anything.
Teleport, interestingly, forced out of the Anivia here. Because of that, this is all stemming from that original flash burnt, Anivia then having to use mana to pick up CS at range. So Azir able to take advantage early on, surprisingly enough, off of the back of that good gank from Cooper, to get himself in a little bit of tempo advantage in terms of better back for the full lost chapter, etc. And
good
no
trading.
teleport.
Good trading from Fenbach in the top lane. Sems is losing out a little bit on health bar.
Yeah, mid lane Shurima shuffle missed by Azir, was looking for the grab and go, and just barely missed the hitbox of the Anivia. So yeah, no gank through there. Bot lane wave will be caught by Jinx. Jinx is down by a couple of CS. Does lose cannon minion there, unfortunately. Not able to use her cannon form for the cannon minion. They're going to attempt to back. This is in the same greedy location. If this is stopped, which it will not be stopped. Ivern was in the vicinity. It might have been something.
We are now entering into Anivia's favorite part of the game, the part where she gets to press R and collect waves for free.
And we notice here, actually, surprisingly, after that recall, the funny thing when that death happened on Fembach, where he was able to get the teleport back in and get the advantage, a little bit of CS lead had opened up there, which will now be returned. Unable to overextend there, so nixes that entire that entire statement, but.
It looks like Dorado are finally going to be able to take this dragon. They've been trying to kill it for the last minute.
Yeah. And Amumu is going to use the opportunity to invade topside blue buff. A good take for himself. Amumu obviously needing that blue buff more than most other champions. Cooper is waiting bot lane on this Ivern. Root comes through, but they do not have a lot of damage here. Just a good trade thus far. Damage is going to be traded back onto Seraphine. Seraphine does have to flash away. Ashe is going to get her W onto Jinx. Jinx is fine, however.
And good autos out of Goose, positioning to make sure that the Jinx is not allowed to play the rest of that fight out.
Yeah. That is going to be used to get the Herald in the top lane from the side of Clown Gaming.
So Clown Gaming are currently up about 1,000 gold at 8.5 minutes. Not a bad little lead they've managed to amass.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all of Dorado's efforts so far to try to pull out a kill here or there just haven't quite worked out.
Ooh, I believe this might be another. Nope. Oh, the hop does miss, but teleport is forced out from Azir to defend this.
And
I don't know if forced is the right word. That was just an odd TP from Azir. I think that he must have assumed his top laner was about to die.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that Amumu threw that Q somewhere about a half a screen away from the Gnar.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the best coordinated gank ever, but
yeah,
it also didn't hurt anything.
I think he must have been anticipating the hop and just, good micro from Fembach to instead just kite upwards. Amumu totally missing the prediction there.
Now, the big thing we're going to have to watch right now is what are Clown Gaming going to actually do with this lead they have. Right now, it looks like they're content to just sit back, try to pick up some waves, get a
Karma is spotted. Ulti comes out from Ashe, and ulti comes out from Seraphine. This is going to be a kill onto the Karma, I believe. No, she will escape with 1 HP. A lot invested here. That was flash from the Ashe for absolutely nothing. Ivern coming in for the back end. They are focusing different targets. Jinx is now going to pick up the kill on Seraphine, and Ivern is going to have the slow onto Ashe. Jinx comes forward to pick up the second kill, which is given to the Jinx. That is 2 kills over to kills.
Oh, that is the worst possible scenario if you are looking at Clown Gaming.
Yeah, it was a clever attempt from them. We noticed that in the forward bush, they had spotted Karma overextending without the Jinx behind her. However, just barely unable to kill that one attack short. And yeah, a good awareness by Cooper to be there for the counter gank, or I guess just for the gank. And yeah, that is. Yeah, like you said, that is not what Clown Gaming wanted to see. That is 2 turret plates over into the pockets of Jinx, as well as 2 kills. I don't know. What was the button for shot for the gold again?
You know what?
X. Thank you. Yeah. So that is currently 3,400 gold. So on the first back, he finishes his Kraken Slayer. 3,700 gold. Yeah, he is now 800 gold up over the Ashe on the opposite side.
Interestingly, most likely because of the camp gold reductions that Ivern faces, there's about a 500 gold lead for Amumu sitting over in the jungle. I mean, there is a little bit of a CS lead as well. It's not all doom and gloom yet. There's only a 400 gold difference overall between these two teams.
Yeah.
So it's really what's going to matter is how they move forward into the rest of the game. Who's able to actually move around the map. And right now, it's looking like Dorado is making plays a little bit more successfully. Ivern
Yeah.
has managed to show up a few more times than Amumu.
Yeah, teleport was just used by Ornn to the top side, so Ornn will not be able to join for this Drake, assuming that they want to take him there. And Gnar gets the back. Oh, is teleporting topside. So this will be a 4v4 for Drake if they decide to fight this. Amumu summons Herald mid lane just to pressure Azir out. Should be able to get the charge off. And it does. The gold only goes to Amumu. That is only, I believe that was one plate of gold there because the first one had already been popped.
Yep, that was 175 going over to Amumu.
Yeah, not the best Herald. But you know, if it was expiring and they wanted Prio for the objective, they are still able to get back out there. They do get vision on that ward, I believe. I thought that they spotted that with Ivern Sweeper, but it does not appear that they did. So they are sitting on vision on this objective. However, Clown does not appear to be actually committing to the fight, and it will just be given back over.
Yep, it looks like we're just going to let the dragon sit. Now we'll see. It is an Infernal Drake, which is actually huge for either team if they can get that.
Yeah.
I know that
But the
Clown
two
Gaming
Drake-
wants that for their Anivia.
Yeah, but the 2 Drake lead as it stands onto the side of Dorado will make it, you know, mathematically, they are now 2 Drakes closer to having Infernal Soul. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the game.
Yeah, if we're looking at how the games so far have turned out, it's not seeming very likely that we're going to see a soul coming out of Clown Gaming. Maybe if we get something big coming from Dorado, we could see it, but I think that Clown is probably a little outside of where they're going to be able to pull it.
Yeah. Fembach attempting to go in the top lane does get the ulti. It is just a damage trade. Back over. Yeah, the interesting point here is, you know, the fact that we're on the Anivia again from the side of Divinity. So the aggression points on the map is what I'm now starting to ask myself for Clown Gaming. Where are their aggression points? Because, you know, unless you land a very good Amumu engage onto this Azir can always just shuffle out of the way of Anivia. Right? And bot lane, obviously, you're not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot now that Jinx has 2 kills, flash, cleanse, and a karma behind her.
What I'm missing here is where is the aggressive play from the Amumu?
Yeah,
that's where I want to see aggression coming out for this team. And Sems is in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, nearly solo killed, has to burn his flash away as the hop from Gnar would have been able to, I believe, kill him with the Gnar empowered Q over the top, the Megaform Q. He is staying for this turret. Q misses from the Gnar, is on 1 HP. Ivern is taking Herald, is not coming for the dive. Ashe is roaming towards mid lane, does have ulti up, does not appear to be looking to use it yet. Karma is in a little bit of a position of precariousness, looking to be caught out by this Amumu, but backs off. Amumu does hook onto Azir, but he does manage to get the jump away, the flash away, and scoops Ivern, Jesus Christ, scoops the Amumu back under the turret, manages to pick him up in this trade. A bit of an overextension, and now Dorado Gaming is looking to follow forward. Anivia is out of mana, and very soon will be put into egg form, will be finished off. Seraphine to back off here. Ult is to try to save her, but ulti does not succeed, and that is 2 kills to Induced out of what appeared to be a catch onto him.
So now we're looking at about a 2,000 gold lead in favor of Dorado.
Yeah.
We see
bizarre
Jinx.
turn of events.
Good sidesteps out of Goose. It's rough that you have to burn the flash there, but
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do when you're running away from Jinx.
Yeah, mid lane taken from the side of Dorado Gaming. Yeah, that was, I tell you, that was a close fight. But yeah, they just barely, the scoop on the side of the Azir, able to get the flash before any follow-up CC connected from the Amumu. That should have been a pick onto Induced, and it turns into absolutely everything Dorado Gaming wanted.
Yeah, I feel like Shuwu's performance last game was really solid, but here on the Amumu, I feel like he's struggling to find his engage angles.
Yeah,
And it looked like he overextended by a lot on the Azir just kind of because he could.
I think the trouble there was when he tagged him in the river bush. I don't. I have to imagine it was a communications thing between he and the team, because as he tagged it, what should have been an easy follow there, the second that a Moose tags. Oh, and sorry, we're looking for something top lane. That is a stun from Gnar, but Gnar will escape, so we can continue talking about the previous engage. Yeah, the Ashe ulti just doesn't follow through quick enough. So even though a Mumu gets the tag, Azir flashes over the wall, and then when a Mumu follows with second Q, he just gets shoved into turret. So, like, the original engage should have been there from them, and just wasn't. So some coordination mistakes there, obviously, from the side of Clown Gaming.
Yeah. The game is not entirely lost yet. While there is a decent gold lead and a pretty decent kill and dragon lead in favor of Dorado, there are still points at which Clown Gaming can still make something happen.
Yeah, good chunk there from the Azir. Now that the Azir is on damage, is able to half health this Anivia. Oh, they are looking for the collapse. That is going to be the Ivern root. That is going to be the Karma flank. Things I'd never thought I'd say in my life for 500, Alex. That is going to be the kill. That is going to be the cleanse from Jinx. Damage back onto the Mumu, and the kill onto the Seraphine. That is 2 kills to Dorado Gaming and what would appear to be a turret.
Yeah, nope, this is... I know a few moments ago I said it wasn't over. It's pretty over now.
The shuffle whiffs again from Induced. 2 attempts at an aggressive shuffle, 2 whiffs on the aggressive shuffle. Will summon the turret back up. He's going to do a little bit of damage to Ornn here, and a little bit of damage back there onto the Ashe.
You know, the Azir shouldn't generally win this lane,
Yeah.
but I think that Induce has done a really fantastic job of getting good trades out in lane this game. I think that generally speaking, the Anivia should be able to match or even beat those trades, but Induce has just been finding the right moments, dodging the right cues, you know, getting through here so that that poke does go out and does succeed for him.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I would just, like, I gotta call back to that early flash that we saw burnt by Cooper. You know, the fact that the Anivia had to then burn teleport and was behind tempo for the Azir from that point onwards. It was a good, like, leverage moment, right? A moment in which Anivia could have continued to abuse the lane, where Azir managed to get control. And yeah, like you said, props to Induced for managing to actually leverage that into what is now a sizable gold lead on his part. It is a total of 1,600 gold that he is up over this Anivia.
Yeah. In these moments, I do actually kind of feel for Goose, who has managed to create a CS advantage, but the 3 kills onto Jinx that have just kind of gotten to pop up there, it feels bad.
Yeah.
Right
okay.
now, we said there were 2 people you didn't want fed, and both of them are fed.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're on the side of Clown Gaming?
Yeah, it's back to game 1. So what it's looking like is going to happen here is that obviously they have advantage over the red side jungle. They're starting to push in and get their own ward set up for Baron. Ashe is at half health here. I believe that was all just from the red buff. I'm not entirely certain, but that looked like good damage onto her. Yeah, and if you're not able to finish, oh my lord, Jinx blind, well, kind of blind ulti manages to pick off the Ashe under her own turret, and like you said, I just feel for Goose here, because he has absolutely no money to do anything whatsoever.
This is tragic. After the comeback win last game,
yeah,
we're seeing some play onto this Karma. It doesn't work because she's Karma.
Yeah, she used the stopwatch to negate one of the engages and then managed to flash back out over. Well done on her part. We saw from that there were no major cooldowns burnt from the side of Clown, thankfully. So they do still have all of their cooldowns available after that. But yeah, Dorado just kind of advantage everywhere on the map as things stand. They're going to be starting up the Baron. Gnar is going to hop in to take it. And this is a relatively quick Baron with Gnar's max HP damage plus Jinx, obviously, on the map. They do get vision of it now with Ashe E. Ashe ulti is available and will go through but does not hit. Amumu does go in and does not manage to get the steal, will get rooted, will get stunned, will get sent to the graveyard with his ulti and his flash, the penance that he has paid, and Dorado Gaming pick up the Baron.
Yep, and now that it is a 5v4 map setup with Baron, I just imagine that Dorado should be able to finally break into this space.
Yeah. Which, a shame after the strength of the game that we saw last game from Clown Gaming. But, hopefully that this will, the game is not yet over. They still have a good wombo here that they can pull off if they get the opportunity. They just need to, put themselves in a good game state to do so.
Now, Ornn did just both finish buying and upgrade the Jack Show into Parasite.
Yeah.
So that is actually a decent spike for Ornn specifically, who has been, once again, Sem's playing really solidly through this series.
Yeah.
Really hasn't been a bad game for Sems yet. It's just top lane doesn't matter, as we said before we came in.
Yeah, unfortunately. If you were Ornn here, who from their team do you put the... Oh, we see Ornn ulti coming through, will manage to tag up Karma, will not manage to get a kill. Flash away is burnt from Ivern. Seraphine ulti hits absolutely nothing. Wall is put back up from Anivia. Anivia has to flash away. The Shurima Shuffle finally connects from Induce. It managed to get 2 kills out of it. There is going to be Anivia going down. There is going to be Amumu following. That is 2 kills for Jinx. That is 3 kills for Jinx. That is a triple kill. Are we going to get the Penta? He still has Flash. That is going to be... Oh, not quite a quadra. That will be that will be the kill taken by the Azir. He got too lost in the sauce, and the Penta does not come through.
Also, Ashe does manage to get the damage out to finish the Jinx, which actually might be enough to stop them from ending right now.
Yeah, an interesting attempt here. They don't have teleport to keep any of these minions alive, but it is only Ornn that is currently here. I believe it should be able to stop the end because now that it's Seraphine and Anivia spawning, that is the knock-up onto Ivern. That is the damage from Sems. That is the kill from the Seraphine. Oddly enough, kind of glad that went to her and not the Ornn. At least you have a little bit of something coming there. But she's not even really building a lot of damage. She's got a blasting wand there. C'est la vie, such is life. The damage just lacking from Clown, I think, in this game.
Well, you have a 60 CS deficit in mid.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 6 kill deficit in ADC. Like, everywhere where you would want damage to be coming out, it's just not there. Yeah. And now, Gnar is just allowed to push in because they're trying to stop the soul.
Yeah, meanwhile, they will be taking this Infernal Dragon, hopefully not stolen, and it is not stolen. Gnar attempts to backdoor. He does get the inhib. He will not be able to get on top of Anivia, I would think. Yeah, just going to be leaving there himself. So if you're Ornn here, which of your carries items do you upgrade? Like, who do you believe has the best chance at getting damage out? Do you believe it's the Anivia or do you believe it's the Ashe?
Oh, definitely the Anivia. Ashe does not have the scaling damage. It just doesn't happen on her. Right. Maybe if you get this game to go far enough, your Anivia eventually has damage. Yeah. I don't think that they have that in them right now. It's a 10,000 gold deficit.
Yeah, the luxury for that, not available. And the upgrade was stopped. That did look like it was about to be an upgrade onto either Seraphine or Amumu. So... kind of glad that did get stopped, not gonna lie, if I'm the side of Clown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I care about Echo's Apelia. Kills
onto the Ivern. They are going to follow. That is going to be a shutdown from Ashe onto the Azir, and all of a sudden Clown Gaming seems to have found their fight. That is 2 kills taken. However, that is super minions onto their final remaining Nexus turret. They're going to have to back off. A good fight, but will it be too late? Bot lane goes Dorado Gaming back to pressure the last remaining turret, trying to string them apart the map.
Yep. This is still rough, right? You can do everything right at this point, and the wallet smack is just too much.
Yeah.
The super
Nar
minion.
goes in, gets the root onto Anivia. Will not get the kill, but they will get the turret. Jinx is firing, but does not have any damage. Jinx is CC'd. Jinx will be killed by the Anivia, but I mean, like you said, as well as you can play, you're down to one Nexus turret and one inhibitor on the map.
That was a pretty significant gold swing of about 3,000 gold. Now they're at about a little less than a 7,000 gold deficit. Still, 7,000 gold is a lot of gold to be down. That's roughly 2 big items down.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Ornn items make up for it. They are going to have the first Ornn item coming through, and I believe that he's getting close to 16, so that should be the second Ornn item for, I mean, I guess technically third, including his own.
He did upgrade the Ashe to Infinity Force.
Yeah.
So, she has been putting out the damage in these fights and has picked up a couple more kills. So I suppose accelerating her so that she retains some value right now, that's perfectly fine. I would like to see this Rod of Ages upgraded on the next Ornn level, though.
Yeah. I don't know if he should stay in range. He does get 16 here. So
there is no mythic from Amumu yet. And
right.
I don't care about upgrading the mythic on Seraphine. I'm not going to lie to you.
He did. He just upgraded Echoes of Helia to Cry of the Shrieking City. I don't know if that was the play, but I guess Anivia's cross map, and he has to be just hoping, hey, we just need something, anything to keep us in this game right now.
And they just let the Baron go.
Yeah.
Honestly, you don't have that many options. You're waiting for your inhibitors to come back right now.
Yeah. That is going to be Anivia attempting to catch Gnar. Gnar will be caught out. He is not expecting 5 people on his side of the map, but he will flash away. Will, I believe, escape from this. Yeah. They're currently, so inhibitor is respawning, but I believe it is still open Nexus. That is an engage from Azir that will catch off Seraphine before the ulti even manages to come through, and that is flash away from Anivia. Jinx is free firing. Jinx will pick off the Amumu with the no-look rocket. And this is looking like all she wrote for Clown Gaming. Last turret will go down. Jinx padding the stats here. Will not finish off that kill. Will finish off the kill onto the Ashe. 10 kills from the side of kills in this game, living up to his own name and his own expectations. And Dorado Gaming living up to their winning record with a 2-1 victory over Clown.
Yeah, great job coming out from Dorado. They did stumble a lot in that game too, which honestly, Clown Gaming, a lot of things to be proud of. I think there's a lot of cleaning up that needs to happen, though. I think we saw some big differences in pathing coming out of the 2 junglers. I think that when iDivinity wasn't allowed to really be aggressive, it didn't work to his advantage. I think the Nefiri was such a different look from games 1 and 3. And they probably want to capitalize on that magic when they're looking forward. Props to Goose for coming in, though, and really playing well throughout to try to make that series work as well.
Yeah, a good series from him, even as a sub, like playing well, not being honestly, as a sub, what you want is like it's great if you can be a very good player in that series, but if you can just perform well for your team and not be a detriment to, like, in a situation like this, like he performed pretty well, very well, all things considered. Yeah, like you mentioned, the aggressive picks, I have to call out, as a Fizz player, personally speaking, the second that I saw Ivern and Azir on the other side, 2 things that would not really be able to stop me, I think my mouth would have been watering. And I know you say that the Anivia matchup, but like you said, I feel like this team performed better in game 2 with him on something extremely aggro, something that could pick and make his own plays when he saw them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think weight and scale doesn't work here. Like, as much as weight and scale is a very tempting thing in a lot of cases, weight and scale did not work for Clown Gaming tonight. I think, it was a hard-fought series. I don't think they went down like chumps. I think they really tried. But, Dorado picking up their 5th win in this league and earning it all the way through.
Yeah, and on, like you said, we 3 good games across the board, even though each of them like swung each of them ended up at the end of it looking like very dominant wins, but they felt very like it was easy to look in each match and go, oh, this is where where the problem started. You know, in game one you had Ziggs picking up 2 kills. And in game three, you have Jinx picking up 2 kills, right? You had out of nowhere a snowball that just started and yeah, was not able to be stopped. And you know, yeah, in mid game for the game two, you know, yeah, props to it. It seems like this game that we've been, you know, talking on Shu for a bit. He had a very good game too, and the engage that, you know, that ended up netting that Azir 2 kills there. I don't think it was a poor engage from him. I just think that he followed too deep. You know, like the when you force his flash out, right, and you see that the Ashe ulti misses and you have no follow up, I think at that point you can just call it wins as a jungler, just going, okay, there is Azir flashed out, we can't do anything past, you know.
Yeah, I think when you're playing hard engage, you have to you have to have the craziness in your soul so that you can
Hmm.
actually go in, but you also have to have that knowledge to say, okay, I've gotten as much as I can out of going forward right now.
Hmm.
And if you turn around and you can turn that into numbers advantage because the Azir is too far out to fight, cool. If all you did was get the flash and a 5-minute cooldown out of that Azir, cool. But when you go further in and now you're so far down that you can be shuffled under the turret and
Yeah.
take your entire health bar, now you're looking where the craziness in your soul has turned into a deficit for your team.
Hmm.
Um,
It,
and you know it's a rough matchup when you're a gold player playing into an emerald player. Like
right, for
that's
sure.
it's a pretty big disparity that we were able to call out honestly before the match started. I
Hmm.
think that Shu really did have a solid series in spite of that. But hopefully next week we'll have seen some adjustments made and they can go into their next game playing a little better.
Hmm. Yeah, and you know, and all things considered, a loss to what is now a 5-0 team, a 2-1 loss, not the worst thing in the world. Not, you know, obviously some things to work on, but you know, I think if you're Clown Gaming, you can not quite pat yourself on the back, but you can you know, you can rest assured that like you put forward a good fight in this game, and you know now some important inflection points to change. Also, obviously under non-ideal circumstances, with their starting AD carry not able to play out the full series, or rather any of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we didn't necessarily know at the beginning whether or not we were even going to have a series, so it was nice to be
Right.
able to see this go to 3 games,
Hmm.
really see how these two teams played it out.
Hmm. Well,
So
I think oh yeah. What were you gonna say, North? Yeah, well, I think that that was a fantastic series, and yeah, I think that all things told, it has been a late evening. Yeah, unless you have any closing thoughts, or pleasure casting with you tonight. Absolute pleasure. Great games, great time.
yeah, no, this was a fun time. I appreciate everyone for watching the stream. Even though we had a couple scuff moments, but we made it work, and it's great casting with someone who actually knows what they're doing because I sure as hell don't.
Hey, appreciate that. Well, yeah, thank you all for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for watching this series. Again, the final score was 2 wins to Dorado Gaming to 1 win from Clown Gaming. Dorado Gaming does take the set. And have an absolutely wonderful night. Have a nice Wednesday. Peace, everyone. Bye.